I spent 1.7 flying private last year, and it taught me so much. So what I learned was, if a flight is less than 2 hours, always fly private.
Welcome to Fargo Talks.
Fargo Talk.
Fargo Talks.
This is Fargo Talks.
I'm at 19,600, and what are good metrics for views to determine if this is a well-received video? And it came back and said, well, it goes off of comments and all that. I go, what? No, just plays, views, or plays on Reels. And it said 80,000 is good, 100,000 is outperforming. And 85% of the ones I've posted with her, and she collabs every time, she accepts it, is over 100,000.
That's awesome.
So, and the funny part is that, thank you. Like the cool part now is I'm getting other women in the adult film industry because we talk for, it's like an hour. We shoot the shit. It's maybe 10 to 15 minutes, sprinkled about the industry. The rest is, well, what else are you doing to diversify your income? And it's a female entrepreneur piece instead of a porn star piece.
Love that.
Right? And that's, I want to be respectful to the guest.
Yeah.
And how many podcasts have they been on that they're talking about doing
this is dick.
Doing about fucking drone bukkake videos in Tijuana? Like every time. And the guy's sitting there with half a chubby while he's talking to her. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Keep the camera up here, bud.
Right. Like I'm good. I love my girlfriend, love porn, don't get me wrong, but I'm someone that I'm always respectful to my guests.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking for that other angle besides everything else they've always talked about on every fucking podcast.
Yep.
So food for thought, like as you're going down the road now with two of them, which I think is hysterical. What was the idea of you? Because you've got one is in a van.
Yeah. So
and not like hey, little kid, do you want candy van? Like, which if you want to do that, like, Costco is cheap suckers,
vibe.
But not your vibe.
Yeah. Epstein files scared me.
What was your thought process behind like, I want to do one in a van?
So I was trying to think about I want to think of a way that I could be unique, but do it in an environment that's cool because everybody has a cool backdrop. And I think the cool backdrops are awesome and everyone's are unique and some of them aren't, right? But the people that do well all have a very distinct backdrop.
Yeah.
And the backdrop is memorable and you see the content and you're like, that was done here. Like you see Joe Rogan's podcast, it was Joe Rogan's podcast. You don't even have to see Joe. You see the guest in the backdrop and that's Joe Rogan's podcast. So I was thinking, what's my differentiating factor? And if I'm focused on business, I want something that's comfortable and cool. So I could build out a room in my house. I could rent a studio. I could build out a studio. And I thought about building a studio several times. I was kind of like, what's more unique? Coincidentally, I bought a Maybach and a Sprinter because I am like the worst texter and driver, but I'm also the best because I've never been in an accident. And I'm really good at it. Dude, right? My left knee only. I'm over here like...
My kids yell at me all the time about that. Yeah.
But it works for me. I don't know. Some people can't drive without anything distracting them. I'm over here like hyper functional with distractions. So good for me, bad for other people. But there are times where I'm like, that could have been a near-death experience, And there are only a few of them that have happened in my whole life. And I've been doing this since I had a phone and a car, which is a while. But I thought about it and was like, shit, man, if I'm going to do anything productive, I should probably have a driver. And so I hired one a couple of years ago, bought a Maybach, kind of didn't really like the guy. He ended up getting fired right before it got delivered. It got there. It was two-tone. It was the new edition of the new body, new tech, augmented reality, all that stuff. I got it, dude. I felt like I needed a fucking college degree to drive it. And I was like, all right, 220 grand and I need a college degree. That's going to cost me another 220. Fuck this.
It's German.
So I flipped it that day because they were so hot. And I called the dealership back to be respectful and was like, you want this car back? And they were like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I don't like it. You want to buy it back at fair market value? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, cool. Made 85 grand in a day. I put 8 miles on it. 8 miles. And I was like, fuck this. I bought the new one recently. It just got delivered. What did I get? I got it in Miami like a week and a half ago when I was at a conference. Dude, hired a driver for a few days, a couple different drivers. It was fucking prime. And I was like, yeah, okay, I love this car. But when I got the Sprinter, I was like, yeah, it's just good for me and my team. We do a lot of conferences. I fly everybody out. We're very big on like, I keep as many at my house as I can. We'll cruise to and from things. And everybody being together is just kind of like what my company culture is all about at all my companies. So whenever we do an event or a conference, everybody's together all the time. Same house, meals cooked by the chef. Everything is like all together. It's very family oriented. So I wanted to get a Sprinter for that. And then I thought about it and was like, dude, this is a perfect podcast studio. And then I was thinking of names and I came up with the name Driving Growth and was like, yeah, it's it. Driving Growth. It's in a fucking van. Perfect.
Good.
And so, yeah, we just cruise around in a van, talk about business, help people solve problems, help people grow. And I've been doing that stuff for free in a community online for a long time on Discord. And it's been great. Super rewarding. Everything's awesome. I record the calls. People can go listen back to them, which is neat, but there's no format. It's literally just come on, ask me questions until I get bored. I've done a couple with formats, but I realized that I wanted to do the AMAs recorded, the Ask Me Anythings that I do. And then I went to that guy Nathan Van Tile's studio, the old one that he had. And I was there. Sean introduced me to him. Cool guy. Went well, but I was kind of like, man, there's no format here. I'm just recording myself talking into a camera. And like, it was fun, but it didn't feel like it was something I was going to be able to clip because it's rapid fire questions, rapid fire answers. So I realized, okay, I've got a fucking van. I bought a $250,000 Sprinter van. I don't know why I have it. It's just a toy. But I could use this toy. And for just a little bit of money, I can make a really cool podcast studio. And so that's what I decided to do with it. And yeah, poke some feelers out just to my immediate network. Had like 180 people apply to be on the show that are all small business owners. So got plenty to sift through. Obviously, I'm going to pick the ones I think I can help the most, right? Like I'm not going to pick, I hate real estate investing. I understand it very well.
Thank you, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's just
it's a lot.
Okay, look at the number of realtors there are and look at how many are successful. Look at the number of real estate investors. Look at how many are successful. The hit rate is very limited and it's an oversaturated market that is currently, has been historically recently oversupplied. Right now, yeah, okay, cool, it's more level, but it's only not oversupplied because people are using fake money to buy properties. We can get into that at another fucking time, but I realized that taking guests on that I'm not going to be able to help was not ideal. So I created an application process, filtering process, vetting process. And now we bring these guests on that I believe I can actually make an impact in because I've had so many people come to me and be like, dude, I was making $200,000 a year. You taught me 2 things in a 10-minute call. And now I'm making $600,000 a year. I've got tons of time with my family. I don't work at all. I've got this delegated here, that delegated there. Those types of calls where I get, like I've had a few of those types, or, you know, a guy who was going to sell his company for peanuts ended up quadrupling the valuation in a year through like 3 tips. And the guy gave me a shout out recently in like a pretty big community that I run. And I was just like, dude, that's what it's all about.
How old are you?
31, you'll be 32 in April.
And you're a linear guy. You're like a very like analytical thinker.
I would say I'm a good problem solver. I mean, I'm more.
You put fires out.
Let me see if I can pull this guy.
Go ahead. Please do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a fireman, but a lot of entrepreneurs at your level that have seen success at your age are ADHD, on the spectrum, a little bit.
Unfortunately not. I didn't meet that one. I tried.
Dude, I would love to be on the spectrum. I'm ADHD out the wazoo.
Dude, I would love that. It was actually funny. A guy that works for me that is autistic was like, we're all a little autistic at this company. I was like, you know, here's the problem with clinical diagnoses. You go on Google and you can WebMD your way to cancer in 3 seconds. You can also WebMD your way to autism. Are you depressed? You're autistic. Do you have anxiety? You're autistic. You know, like it's a little tough. I mean, took the test and it said I wasn't, but who knows? It could be lying, right? What if the test was just...
Who gave the test?
Yeah, I mean, right, exactly.
Who gave the test? It's
true.
But what I love about you, because like we met through Sean's mastermind thing on WhatsApp is, and I kind of sit back and watch. I'm 54 and I'm older. I've been through it and am been, you know, have launched this thing, doing this thing. It's monetizing. For the first time in my life, I love what I'm doing.
Hell yeah.
Right? And I'm an entrepreneur for the first time at 54 and loving it. And it's just to see your approach. You're a big loyalty guy. You're a big loyalty guy. And that, like, I get goosebumps talking about it because in a digital age that's so unique, where most people now are paying for success, They're paying for notoriety with paying for reviews or views online to say that they're an influencer. Really, if you peel back the onion, they're not. They're just not. That's okay. I'm not that guy. You're not that guy. What drew me to you is you have no fucking filter whatsoever. You give zero fucks.
Yeah, no, I don't
And I
care.
guarantee you had zero fucks when you had not a penny to your name and you were fucking couch surfing,
Yep,
right?
that's a fact.
And that, but also take it to a positive. That's what got you to where you are now, to be sitting in that chair now, to be making a $250,000 investment in a Sprinter van that's a toy,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
What was it that took you from like the couch to where, wow, like people are listening to me? What I'm saying matters.
You know, it still feels like they sometimes don't. No. So for a long, long time growing up, I was always a no filter, no bullshit kind of guy. Got me into a lot of trouble as a kid, is what it is.
Where are you from, by the way?
So born in New York, raised in South Florida.
Okay.
And so I grew up early on athletic. Then I played basketball, ran track. Everybody got taller and I didn't. So there went that. And I was always too smart to hang out with all the jock kids. And I was too cool to hang out with the nerd kids. So like I had friends that were nerds and I had friends that were athletes, but like I didn't really have friends. I had friends. So like I didn't get invited to birthday parties because people weren't sure what clique I was in or if I was actually in a group. So I had like zero, like very few true friends as a kid. I have a few still to this day that I talk to once in a while. But I mean, my oldest friend that I'm like best friends with still is a kid I met on the fucking internet at 14.
Awesome.
Like, awesome dude. We opened a gym together, works for me at one of my companies, has taken on 4 different roles. Guy's a rock star, awesome human being. We made a ton of money on the internet together. And at 14 and 12, we met and started, making money on the internet. So it was like, I didn't really have respect of people because I dropped out of school at 15 as effectively a senior with a bunch of college credits, med school credits. So I didn't have like the respect of my family because they were like, you're an idiot. You could have cured cancer and now you're a fucking dropout playing video games like on the internet. And I'm like, yeah. And then, sometime later, my grandfather got diagnosed with cancer. I got into music. Then I just spiraled, dude. Did a ton of drugs, sold a ton of drugs. Nothing like, I didn't do like heroin or crack or meth or anything. Well, I probably took some meth when I thought I was doing MDMA, but you know how it goes.
Potato. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You just, you don't sleep for a day. One of them you sleep. The other one you don't sleep. And you learn very, very fucking quickly. Testing kits weren't common back then. And so I was traveling around playing shows and, eventually managed artists and had like restaurant jobs in the background and was always just trying to figure it out. And I remember vividly this one particular girl was a girlfriend of a friend of mine who DJ'd. And I, at a time, like did some recruitment for Bang Bros. And I got both of them into porn. She ended up stripping and just played video games and stripped. That was pretty much all she did. He played music and tried to make music. And, we were good friends. One day we're in the car and I was explaining that there was a hack to get free televisions where, yeah, this is crazy. So there were certain brands back then where you could buy a TV, tell them the picture was off the screen, which means the aspect ratio is fucked. But you tell them, yeah, the picture's bleeding off the screen. They would not take the TV back because the cost to repair the TV would be greater than the resale value of the refurbishment. So they would tell you to cut the power cord and send it back to them. And then you'd go buy a generic one from the store and they would send you a new TV. So you would buy one, get one free televisions. Yeah. So I told her that and she was like, I don't need your fucking Jew tricks. And I was like, huh, okay, cool. And then she went on a rant about how I'm so smart and I should just go to school and get a good job because I'm wasting my life and I'm an idiot. And I always have these get rich quick ideas and all these big dreams and I should just forget about it. And I will never, ever forget that moment because that bitch lives in a fucking trailer. Okay?
What's your first name?
Not saying it.
Fuck you, not saying it.
I don't want to be a dick.
Fuck you. I'll say it for you. It's okay.
But there's another hack and a really weird thing that I learned over time about myself. I grew up really poor. So I'm accustomed to spending money in weird ways sometimes. So I had millions of dollars in the bank and I would not buy raspberries if they weren't buy one, get one free. Because I grew up and you could not buy raspberries if they weren't buy one, get one free. You just simply couldn't. When I was really broke during these DJ days, what I used to do is go to Publix, grocery store in Florida.
Love Publix.
Amazing.
Love Publix.
I would only buy things that were buy one, get one free. And then the week later, when the sales changed, I would return the one free. and I would get free groceries infinitely. So whatever the balance of my groceries needed to be, I would only buy one, get one free stuff. And then if I wanted to splurge and get some raspberries one day, well, I got $20 banked from last week. And that was my hack for eating for free when I had no money.
So here's my public story. My girlfriend lives in Tampa. We're doing a long distance thing. She's in Newport Richie. And
cool.
So our first date over a year ago now, my mom was living in Spring Hill. So we met on Bumble. She made me dinner at her house.
Okay, keeper.
Which is like, and she's a 4-star chef. Like and she's a nurse, but she can cook. She's from Georgia. So she knows how to nurture and take care of her man and traditional values. I'm like, and she's hot. She's a redhead with a thigh gap. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And age appropriate. She's 43. I'm like, oh my God. And she makes this amazing dinner for me. And I go, I'll run to Publix. I love their chewy chocolate chip cookies. I go, I'll go. She goes, no, I'll make them for you from scratch. I have a recipe memorized. I spent the night.
Hell yeah.
First date, spent the night. I'm like, done.
Yeah.
Done.
Hell yeah.
I never knew the love language of cooking until I met Brandy, who and it's a Southern thing, I think, because I can cook. I'll try to go in and help. And she's like, nope, you stay and watch TV. You go and have a freaking gummy and, and watch TV and hang out with the dog. Okay.
Wow.
It's like, I have met the unicorn of women at,
Make me cookies.
It's cookies. I'm telling you, it's chewy chocolate chip cookies is what got me. And I'm lucky enough to live in a city with more 5-star restaurants than any city in the world. Have been in almost all of them. Great. But that tenderloin that she made me with roasted potatoes and steamed vegetables. And then
it was made with love.
Fucking love, man.
Yeah.
Love. And I'll never forget just that it's those little things. So but I love Publix, pub subs. Their subs are fucking amazing.
I knew the pub sub was coming.
Dude, that's just, and the thing is, I'm from upstate New York. I'm from the Finger Lakes region, Canandaigua, south of Rochester. So Wegmans and if y'all don't know Wegmans, that's the best fucking grocery store on the planet.
Wegmans is pretty sick.
No one could fucking touch Wegmans with I'm going back next week to see my dad, and it's Brandy's first, I'm flying her up. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm taking her, before she meets my dad, I'm taking her to Wegmans in Canandaigua, New York.
Hell yeah.
Market Cafe. Oh my God. Their sushi is unbelievable. Jesus Christ. And so but getting back with you, I love the fact that you're loyal. I love the fact that you take care of your people.
It's important. Because
I think, again, I'm generalizing and making an assumption. You'll tell me if I'm wrong, but you weren't taken care of when you were younger.
It depends on by who. So my grandfather, who passed last September, by far the greatest man that I think has ever existed. Like the most most selfless guy in the world, biggest heart. Dude was hilarious, brilliant, a great salesperson, a hard worker, made $200,000 a year in the 70s and would spend 201 making sure his family had the best life, which was cool until I was born. And then our family was poor. But amazing human being. He was, and my grandmother as well, were incredible. My mother tried. My stepdad was a piece of shit. My biological father I never met. My mother did her best, but didn't have the right cards. She was a very good person, but she had me at 22 and wasn't prepared to have a kid. That's my belief. She believes otherwise.
Belief. No, that's a fair belief.
I can't imagine having a kid at 22.
Who knows how to, you can raise yourself at 22.
I wasn't a fully formed adult. I mean, dude, I lived in a car at 24? Like, bro, I can't even imagine. I remember actually a funny story when I was living half in my car and half with one of my ex-girlfriends who was living in a room rental half the size of this podcast room. I would come in there and sneak in. The guy who owned the house would get pissed off, be like, I'm renting a room to one person, not two. And would yell at me and shoo me out. But I remember one night having it had to be a fucking mental breakdown. And I was like, let's just have a kid. And what's really fucked up is I came inside of her and I didn't have money for the plan B. So we went to the store to get it and I made her buy her own plan B after I realized that was a stupid idea. And ever since then I was like, yeah, no. But at the time I was like, maybe it'll whip me into shape. And I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
And how old were you when this happened?
That was 24. Yeah.
And how old are you now?
31, almost 32.
And how much you spend a month right now in marketing?
Oh, millions. Yeah. It's been a very weird run of just fortunate events, good people, good opportunities, and hard work.
How much of it is hard work how much of it is being in the right place at the right time, and how much of it is just fucking blind luck?
So there's a guy, Gary Vonk. He's I think he's president of Kaiser University in Florida. And it's skill, will, and opportunity. Sorry, I forgot the phrase. Skill, will, and opportunity, and you have to have all three. Because you can have the skill and you can have the will, but if you don't have the opportunities, you're not going to get anywhere. And you can have the opportunity and you can have the will, but if you're not talented or you don't have the skills to achieve the goal, you're not going to get there. And if you have the skill and the opportunity, but you don't have the drive, you're not going to be successful. And that one's hit me a lot of times because early on, when I made my first couple $1 million, it was in 90 days. Like I went from making 200 grand a year to starting my own company to having 12 grand in the bank to having to lie about having my card stolen to float a $500,000 week, and then made 1.4 in a week and netted 900. And over that couple months or 3 months where I made a couple $1 million, I thought I was fucking invincible. I thought I was the most brilliant guy in the world. I was actually just really good at one thing, or well, multiple things, but one main line of business. So I tried to start another company, and I dumped a bunch of money into them, and I didn't have the will. I had the skill, had the opportunity, but I didn't have the will and the drive to actually physically get involved. And so because I didn't get involved, they floundered. And I thought, wow, I'm never going to make that mistake again. Well, fucking shit. So some years later, COVID happens, and I'm really big into biohacking, always have been. And so in 2020, I bought like $250,000 of biohacking gym equipment and all types of cool advanced tech. And I put it all in my office, built my own gym, built a shower, I spent like 40 grand on the fucking bathroom. I was retarded. What the fuck was I thinking? But whatever, young and dumb. And so I built this great gym out, and then COVID happens. And I shut down the office, shut down one of my companies, really sad day, lost millions of dollars keeping people employed only for them to be like, you fucking prick, you fired us. You have all these nice cars and a big house. I'm like, bro, I just lost $2 million keeping you all employed. What the fuck?
They'll never get it.
No, a handful of them did, which I appreciate. Some of them actually ended up working for me at different projects. But at the time, I was like, what the fuck do I do with all this gym equipment? We just bought out of a lease for $750,000. What the fuck am I going to do? So I end up opening a biohacking gym in Boca in the middle of a pandemic. And I'm thinking, it's going to take 6 months to build out. By the time that, everything will be settled. Well, it kind of did. The problem was nobody gave a flying fuck about spending money on health and wellness at that point. And even now, there's Project Wellbeing out here, incredible facility, reasonably priced. It's priced about how mine was priced, and it's a way better facility, right? So I'm like, this place is going to do really well. People just don't want to make that investment. It's a very specific type of person. I thought being in Boca Raton, living in Highland Beach, having I'm in fucking a community with 60 homes, private beach, 100 feet on the water. I'm thinking like, I'm in the right spot. Fuck no, dude. We couldn't get over 30 members. And I just remember being like bleeding money. And I could have marketed it. I knew what I needed to do. But my team was spread thin doing other things. I was making so much money elsewhere that I was like, oh, whatever. I'm losing, 50 grand a month over here, 30 grand a month over here, eventually 20 grand a month over here. I was like, it's fine. And then I'm paying some salaries. I'm like, But eventually I was like, all right, I got to stop this. This is crazy. And so I had to shut it down. But it was another case of I had the opportunity, I had the skill, I just didn't have the drive to be involved day to day because I had bigger fish to fry. So over time, I've learned not to take on projects that I can't dedicate myself to, because if I'm not going to be physically involved, I can't guarantee the success of it. And it's the ability to guarantee the success, I think, that defines the skill of an entrepreneur. Because if you have a good model, and you have, the opportunity to leverage that model or use that model or put it into place, and you have the, let's say, the driving force, whatever it is, that motivation, that passion, you're probably going to be successful. But if you don't have all those things, how can you be? And so I had to learn that the hard way after losing millions of dollars on different projects. I started a all-natural vasodilator, like pre-workout, pre-sex gummy. I spent $500,000 on it. Branding was beautiful. We threw a show. I had my buddy Riff Raff come out as like our celebrity guest for the launch. Had a great fucking time. Party was sick. Everything was great. The dude that was running the company ended up just extorting me for money, didn't do his job, never reached out to any of our leads, and just kind of ripped me off. And it was my former assistant who I traveled around the country with me, took all over the place, paid for everything. It was a really fucked up deal. And And then he tried sending out a fraudulent invoice to one of our customers with his company name on it. And I'm like, yeah, that was a dumb move, but it's not worth legal action. You can't draw blood from a stone. And I have that product sitting in a warehouse. It expires in like 5 months, $500,000 L, and a bunch of my time because I personally was not involved. I trusted somebody else to do a job that I knew I could have done, but I didn't have the bandwidth to do. And that person just either wasn't qualified or didn't have the drive either. So without that will from somebody, there's not going to be success. So
How do you find people that have drive?
I
you
think
find
it's
it?
just, I think it's just a matter of, it's not necessarily the person. I think it's a matter of motivation. So
Okay.
I think one of the traits of a good leader is the ability to motivate people and to identify what makes people happy, because people do their best work when they're happy. Some people are financially motivated. I'll give you a great example. One of my best friends, he's like a little brother to me, although I have a little brother, arguably is close. And the kid had a job making like 80 grand a year, lived in Canada. And I was like, hey, and he worked for a good friend of mine. And I was like, hey man, I just had to let somebody go. Crazy opportunity. You will make a lot more money than you've ever made before. Please come help me. And the guy wanted to work with me. And he was like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. And I'd be like, dude, but you're going to make so much money. And it was the first time ever that I realized you can't buy some people or things, no matter how much money it is, because some people just don't give a shit. And I had to figure out what it was that he really wanted. And he's so much like me, younger, slightly different. He's Canadian, so he's a little more passive and a lot nicer, a lot more pleasant,
My
a
condolences
little
for
less
Prime Minister.
aggressive. Yeah, no shit.
Yikes.
And so I realized after a few days, I was just like, dude, there's so much we can do, so many problems we can solve, so many exciting opportunities. I would hate to go on and try to find somebody else to do this when I know you're the perfect guy. And I realized after that conversation, the exciting opportunity was the ability to problem solve. It was working collaboratively to solve problems because we both enjoyed the way each other thought. And we were both very good friends because of it. But being able to say, hey, dude, there's going to be problems that I'm going to need help solving, and I think you're the right person for it, that was the motivation. Still is to this day. Like blind trust, blind faith. The guy's an incredible human being. It's been super cool watching him grow as a human and in business. But at the end of the day, it wasn't about money. Like, he does not give a fuck. The guy makes a lot of fucking money now, a lot. And he still lives like he drives like a 99 Toyota 4Runner that's on his last leg.
Awesome.
Making many hundreds of thousands of dollars a year with no bills, lives at home and then floats between Airbnbs when he'll shack up with buddies or go travel. He's in Costa Rica for a month, just
God
working
bless.
remotely, casually from Costa Rica at, 24 years old, just chilling.
Have you built, like, to talk about him and with your success, and you're herding kittens every day.
Yeah.
You're
100%.
herding kittens every fucking day,
Yeah.
right?
Sometimes cows, some people aren't that light.
Touche, my friend. Touche. Do you have you kind of formed like a kind of Knights of the Round Table,
Oh,
like
100%.
advisory group of guys and girls that just kind of
Oh,
will never blow smoke up your skirt, but will be there for you to go, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You're kind of going sideways on this. Or, hey, I love this as well as you, and I'm being sincere. I'm not doing it because of financial gain.
so I can tell when people are lying to me, and I can tell when people are just giving me lip service, and I can tell when people aren't saying something and want to say something. The people closest to me usually don't rock the boat. They don't. There's one particular person on our team who has the balls to say what everybody else is thinking, and we get into arguments. And I love it because the arguments are what make me realize a different perspective and possibly attack a problem differently. But not everybody's capable of that confrontation. So there are different people I come to for different things. There are different things I share with different people. There are different things, like I look at people's experience sets, their life experiences and their experiences in work. I look at their skills and I look at their temperament, and I know what I can and can't bring to them if I want a desired outcome. And to me, it's not always about getting the outcome I want. It's just getting the outcome I need. So getting somebody's opinion on something, there are some people who will be like, yeah, dude, you're the best. Whatever you say, you're the guy. And there are other people, and they're not doing it in a way that's negative. They're not doing it to intentionally appease me. It's a subconscious thing. They're like, this guy's fucking win rate is huge. Of course he's right. And then there are guys that'll be like, no, but wait. Those are my favorite fucking people. The no, but wait people, like my CTO of my tech companies, he's a very no, but wait person. He's always devil's advocate, always thinking of every possible angle. And me, I'll work through all the stuff in my head. And once I think I've come to an answer, I'll present it. And I might be right, I might be wrong. And when I am wrong, it helps me find the right answer. So those people are fucking critical, but not everybody's like that. You can't, not everybody you surround yourself with is going to give you the information you need all the time. Many of them will give you the information you need some of the time, the information you want some of the time. But if you're surrounded by a group of people that are exclusively yes men, that never challenge you, that never make you think differently, that don't provide perspective, then you have to rethink the people you're surrounded by.
I preach, my daughter's 14, my son is 8, and I preach to them. I have like almost like an exit interview with them all the time. How am I as a dad to you? You're great. Thank you. I love you. But what can I do to be a better dad to you? Because I'm trying to teach them, it's working, to challenge literally everything.
Yep.
Question everything. Don't take what the government is giving us as gospel.
Don't take what anyone gives you as gospel.
Don't take what anybody, and that is something that I preach to my own kids because I see it now. Like I just took my son to Disney World in Orlando for a week. We had a great time. I know I'm a good fucking dad because first of all, I'm seeing all these other kids whining and screaming because they couldn't go on a ride or they couldn't get a churro or they couldn't get a Mickey Mouse fucking pretzel, where Jack is just like happy to be there.
Yeah.
He's happy to be with his dad, and that I'm hardly on my phone. I'm with him, and in that moment, locked in with him, full stop. He knows that, and he appreciates that. I had him, again, we stayed at a nice hotel, room service every night. By one of the last days, he's calling room service all by himself and ordering.
I love that.
And it was like, and he's, hi.
At 8?
8 years old.
I love that.
You someday will be working for Jack Fargo. I'm telling you right now, Brandon. He would, and I'm listening because they're on. You could hear the phone. I'm on the other bed, and hi, yes, my name is Jack Fargo. We're in room 923, and I'd like the spaghetti. Dad, what did you want again? My dad would like the Caesar salad with grilled chicken on the side, and Dad, what do you want for dessert? 2 orders of the chewy chocolate chip cookies, please. Thanks, Irene.
Wow.
And I'm somebody that I want my kids to fail as often as possible.
Yeah.
Or anyone that I work with, anyone on my team, please fail.
That's got to be such a great experience.
I get goosebumps thinking about it because to me, again, being older, and my mom passed away last year and I was there at the very end. Thank you. I was flying every other weekend. I have no kids. I'm going back to Tampa, get her here. 3 weeks later, she passes away. Literally raised by her, and I'm an only child. So that was a lot to process, and I was still trauma from it, and I'll have forever. But I'm a better parent because of the things that she did for me and the things she didn't do for me.
Yeah,
I'm a better dad now because of it, and I have the greatest job in the world. I have a front row seat to the greatest show ever, watching my kids grow up.
That's awesome.
And thank you. And that when they fail, they're comfortable enough to tell me. Because I really don't get mad at them for that. Yeah. I want them to. There was a couple months ago, we love the freaking deep dish pizza from Costco. They've got this deep dish meat lovers Iron City pizza. It's wonderful. Jack wanted to pull it out of the oven. He does it. It flops on the oven door. For about a second, I went, oh, and then I'm like, okay. I go, honey, let's clean it up. We could save this. He was waiting for me to like smack him in the back of the head, scream and yell. No, It's okay to fail. And I know that you foster that in any one of the companies you have.
100%.
You need to breed, by the way. You'd be a great fucking dad.
Dude, it's on the to-do list.
You need to breed. Like
I'm getting to the point
certain
where
people need to parent. You need to fucking parent.
Everybody says that.
You need to parent.
And I love, dude, one of my favorite pastimes is living through my friends with kids. So I have friends, they'll have kids, and I'll be like, this is the only time this is not creepy. I'll be like, dude, need kid pics. See, I'm probably on some list for it, but I like all my friends that have kids. I'm like godfather to some, and
that's awesome.
They're incredible little humans, man. Right. And it's so cool to like hang out with them and watch them grow and teach them stuff and like help them navigate the world. I will definitely enjoy having kids, but I want to make sure I do it with the right person, right time.
Absolutely.
And the most important thing for me is like selfishly genetics. Like I'm looking at it like, all right, what predispositions are these kids going to have? These are going to be fucking IVF babies. They're going to come out perfect. we're doing this the smartest way possible. If there's any gene modifications we need to make, we'll do what we got to
Like
do.
Hitler Youth goose stepping up and down the fucking Pacific Coast Highway. That's hysterical. I love it.
But no, I'm getting to the point where in the next few years, it's going to be like, I take the handful of smartest women I know and I'm like, yeah, dude, gonna need an egg, brah.
It's almost like you're a breeder like the Kentucky Derby, like out to stud in like Lexington, Kentucky, and you just find like a genetically superior woman that because you bring a lot to the table, and you find a chick that's got some shit going on both physically and intellectually, and it's like let's do this. I waited until we had Alex. I was 38 when we had my daughter, and so I waited a while.
Yeah,
and then I was 45 when we had Jack, so 46.
All right, we got time, baby.
So you're fine. But it's more about like, again, to see people in their 20s having kids, I could really wipe my own ass throughout my entire 20s.
I could not imagine.
Jesus.
And that's where I give my mother a lot of credit because she in her mind is like, no, I did it because I wanted to. And it's fair. You obviously did. You could have had an abortion. My biological father wanted her to. My grandparents for a while wanted her to. Then they didn't want her to. Then they were happy she didn't. Then they helped raise me, all this stuff. But like to do that, to take that on, I'm not surprised that I have to help my mother through life. I'm not shocked that I take care of my siblings. That doesn't surprise me. But the fact that my mother actually gave birth to me and tried is like, I'm not a participation trophy guy, but holy fucking shit, dude, at 22 to give up your life, that is like objectively the dumbest thing you could do. I did so much, like having fun, learning, all this stuff, and she forwent all that and was just like, I'm just going to be a parent. And that wasn't her life plan. It was a total accident.
And it's rare for you to acknowledge that and to be aware of that and not have kids yet. Because most people can't empathize with that.
Yeah.
They don't relate to that because they don't have kids yet. And for you to be aware of that is fathoms deep, my friend. I'm not blowing smoke up your skirt. It's fucking good,
I'll
man.
take it.
No, it's good because, and again, I'm that kind of guy that if I think you're full of shit, I'm gonna fucking tell you. Because I have no fucking agenda.
Yeah, well, I had my coffee poop this morning, so we're good.
It's wonderful. Coffee shits are the fucking best, by the way, the fucking best. It's something that you get to a point where you recognize others, whether it's in a personal relationship, in a business relationship, because there's so much noise right now in the fucking world with cell phones and fucking internet and and social media and all the shit you're getting bombarded with, that for you to have a conversation with somebody, like I love the fact we're talking right now, your eye contact hasn't fucking left me almost the entire time. Yeah. I've had guests on here, love them, but at one time I had a couple people on that Scott had to turn off the monitor because they kept looking at themselves in the monitor.
If the monitor was behind you, it'd be pretty distracting. Like in the van when we were doing the tests, so there's a screen up by the driver thing, and I look at the driver thing.
You can't.
Because the other two seats for the potential two guests are in front of that driver thing. Dude, we had the screens up there, and I was like, nah, put a monitor in back where the bench is. I can't do it. Because I kept looking up at myself and being like...
It's distracting.
Yeah, I couldn't even do a dry run.
Where's your van? Here?
Yeah, it's here.
Sometime have me come over and let me take a look at it.
Dude, 100%.
Okay.
You come over this weekend if you want.
Like GoPro. Actually, you know what? I'm with my kids this weekend.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
No, they love it. Because,
really? Okay,
please.
sick.
Especially my son.
Does
will
he
be
like cars? Oh, dude, I've got a nice roster of cars. That's cool. We'll have fun.
And again, I'm winning as a dad when I can say, this is a friend of mine, going to come over, check out what he's got, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And my daughter also, she's a theater kid. She goes to LVA.
Hell yeah.
She's Broadway. That's her thing. I took her. So this is what I do. This is food for thought. I'm at a point in my life that I love working. I'm good. Financially, I'm good. I take my kids on vacations together. We go to upstate New York to see my dad every summer for at least a week. But I take them each on vacations. So I took Jack to Disney World. I took Alex to Manhattan,
dude,
for a week in July.
How many shows did you see?
We saw Hamilton. Game over.
I heard it was incredible.
Game over, and then saw Funny Girl. It was also fantastic.
I did not even know of the existence of that show.
Funny Girl's like won all these Tony Awards. I have friends in Manhattan. Okay. Like, where should I go see? And they're like, definitely Hamilton. Which
I had a friend named Tony once, and he never gave me a fucking award. So fuck that guy.
Fuck you, Tony. Hamilton was just amazing, but it was like we did the helicopter, thing. We go around Manhattan Island.
Dude, so fun.
Caught a Yankee game, Museum of Natural History, Chinatown,
Hell yeah.
9/11 Memorial, and I lived there for a while, so I know the spots. Still have friends there, but to give her that experience, because I don't care if she goes on with theater, but I want to show her that if she does want to go on, this is like the Yankees.
Yeah.
This is like the big time. This is what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
And I love experiences over material things
100%.
for my kids. So to come over to like your place this weekend and for Jack to like fucking hang out with like cars like that, and for Alex to like look at stuff, like they'll be impressed, not in an envious way, but in something that's motivating to them.
That's where it's at. That's the number one thing.
Right.
And you talked about experiences, dude. My philosophy on dating, probably why I'm not married, probably why I don't have kids. I tell girls, I do a couple things on the first date. The first one is I tell them straight
Oral.
up.
Oh,
No.
sorry. Hey, I'm just saying.
I tell them that they got to fucking work for that shit. I tell them, I'm not going to buy you shit. I will not buy you things. Like you can look at me like, oh, this guy's rich, this guy's successful. I'm not buying you shit. If I buy you shit, it's a birthday, it's Christmas, or I saw something that genuinely made me think of you, or I knew you needed something.
Sweet.
That's it.
That's sweet.
We're not going fucking shopping. I'll go shopping. I'll drop 40 grand at fucking H. Lorenzo in LA. I'll go to Atelier in New York. I'll go to fucking Leclerc, I don't know how to pronounce the shit, in fucking Paris. I'll go to Harrods. I'll go to these places. I'll spend fucking 50 grand at Selfridges. I'm not buying you shit. I'm buying me shit. That is my money. You buy yourself shit. And if I see something where I'm like, damn, dude, my girl would look hot in that. Okay, cool. But we're not going shopping. That's not an activity for me. It's all about experiences, because when you're dating somebody, I think the most important thing is experiences. If I buy a girl a bunch of bags, and I do the simp shit where I buy them bags and shoes and this and that and dresses and clothes and all the gay designer fashion. I don't have anything against gays.
I get it.
All the
No,
lame
you're fine.
designer fashion shit.
You're fine.
Where it's like, oh yeah, cool. This is fucking great. It's got the Louis Vuitton print that everybody else wears. If I buy a bunch of that dumb shit, and then 3 months later I'm like, this girl sucks. Or she's like, this guy's a fucking asshole. He works too much, right? I end that relationship. She leaves with stuff. I leave with annoyance.
She leaves with trophies.
Right. Now, I don't look at them as trophies. I just look at them as stuff.
That's how she looks at it, though.
Maybe. Yeah, you might be right. More experience than me. Trivial to me. But if I said, hey, you know what? Cool. I'm not going to buy you shit, but we're going to fucking Hawaii. Not going to buy you anything, but I got this place in LA. Let's hop on a quick jet, go over there, eat some good food for the weekend, go see the fucking UFC fight, whatever. Or, hey, okay, cool. Let's go like to my suite. There's a concert. None of my fucking friends are going to this stupid Nicki Minaj concert. Just invite like 10 of your girlfriends, and I'll invite a couple of my buddies, my team, my staff. Like those types of experiences, you always have a good time with good people, and you leave with memories.
It's the
Like
best.
you want to go to fucking Europe?
The best.
Let's go to fucking Europe. Cool. Yeah. I'm down. But it isn't going to be because she sent me like I had a girl do this once, sent me a fucking video of like bawling. Was like, I want to wake up to you here. I'm like, bitch, you ain't going to wake up to me here. The fuck you mean? Like, who do you think this is?
I love that so much.
Because this is a world where it's like, there are so many women. I had a discussion. This is a fucked up one. I was dating this chick casually after my last 2 relationships back. So before my last. And we dated on and off for like 6 months. And she was really, really hot. Like one of the hottest girls I've ever met in my life. She was great in bed, super fucking cool, very materialistic. I did not buy her anything. She would complain about that. We would go places, we would do things, we would hang out, and I just wouldn't buy her anything. And one day she's like, it's really annoying that her girlfriend, who I'm not going to name, has this guy who's willing to show her all this love and affection. And I was like, okay, well, the guy's, first of all, he lied about his age and said he was 38 and he's really 49, which I found in 3 searches. Second of all, the guy's going through a divorce. He just had a tragic loss in his family, like really unfortunate. And the guy's a really nice guy. And so he comes out to Vegas and takes her shopping for like 10, 20 grand every week. And she was like, it's really messed up that you don't take me shopping like that. I was like, I'll tell you what, go shopping with them. She goes, you want another guy to buy me shit? I was like, fuck yeah, absolutely. Let another guy buy you shit. I'm great with that. That's fine. I'm good with it. Please do it. And she was like, I don't understand. And I'm like, because I don't think that buying people things is a display of love. And we fundamentally disagreed about that. Like to the point where we do not talk anymore. But early on, we didn't even go out. Like she after she came over to my house for like 2 weeks straight, she was like, are you ever going to take me on a date? I was like, oh yeah, sure, we can do that. And we went out to dinner. But I mean, it was just like, we just hang out, hook up, and that was it.
But also you're at a point that you're still figuring shit out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
Every day.
Right. And you're so, especially with a relationship with somebody, dude, I found love for the first time at, 53, when I met Brandy. It's like, oh my God, thinking I was married for 13 years. We're great friends now. Should have never been married.
Yeah.
And I love and adore Becky, but not in a romantic way anymore, and really never did when we were together. It just was, we're together because we had kids.
Oh, dude, let me tell you how this one ended though. The way we stopped hanging out, we're laying in bed and she goes, "Why won't you date me?" And I was like, what do you mean? She goes like, why are we not in a relationship? And I was like, it's a good question. Let's talk about it. We've had a pretty toxic on and off thing. And I just don't know that I want to rush into something. She's like, yeah, but we get along so well. The sex is so good, all this stuff. And I was like, that's all very true. So here's the problem. You are, I think she's 23. You're 23, right? And I'm 31, or I was 30, almost 31. I was like, I'm 30, maybe I was 30, whatever it was. I'm 30, 31. There's an 8-year age gap. If we look at the number of women in America, I think it was like something like 200-ish million. If we look at the number that are in that gap, it's like whatever, 20 million. I think, I'm not sure I remember the stats, but I broke it down like this and was like, okay, so there's 20 million. You're top 10% hot. Would you agree? She goes, yeah, thank you. I was like, okay, cool. We're honest. So you're top 10% hot. You model for a living. Your entire source of income and identity is being hot. In 8 years, you will not be as hot. In 12 years, you will really not be as hot. And in 20 years, you will really, really not be as hot. So the entire composition of your value is correlated to your aesthetics, which you will eventually lose. Now, you're a good person. Not saying you're not a good person, but if we just look at the raw numbers, there are 2 million of you today. Top 10% hot out of 20 million in our age bracket. There are 2 million of you. You would be very hard pressed to find factoring net worth, not fucking ugly, funny, good person, don't cheat, not married, no kids. You won't find hundreds. So if your question is, why are we not dating? It's because the disparity between the scarcity of each of our resources is so great that I have to really, really, really fucking want to date you. The next day she went out and bought me a bracelet. Yeah.
Why'd you break up?
We never dated. We just hung out.
And that was it.
No, after that, we talked on and off casually for a few months and hung out a couple times. And, when my house got robbed in May, before I fucking went crazy on security because somebody in my inner circle kind of fucked me over. Yeah. Like $700,000.
What?
Yeah. And it was painfully obvious. Cops did nothing. I had pretty good proof of
Here?
it. Yeah, here. Yeah. Oh yeah, here.
In Vegas.
Yeah. And yeah. So I ended up like
Wow.
beefing up security to the nines, like going way overboard. All my guns got stolen, all my jewelry, all my watches. Yeah, I took like $1 million in L's last year in thefts. I had a car stolen from an airport, 1,100 horsepower, one of one, $150,000 Trackhawk that went faster than my F8 to 60. I had an RM stolen off my wrist in a crowd at Dre's or outside of Dre's, which I should never have gone to fucking Dre's in an RM. We were already out and I was like, whatever. Didn't even want to go there. That was $250,000. And then my house for like $650, $700. And so, yeah, in total there, I took a major L. And then I was like, fuck Vegas, went to LA, rented like a $50K a month place for a few months. I was like, I'm just going to go live here. And then I started dating a chick, came back here, realized how much I loved my house and was like, fuck this. I'm just going to spend, an ungodly amount of money on security. And yeah, now we are way overkill on security. We have very good safes. We've got some good protocols in place. We got people that watch the place remotely, actual humans, not AI, 24/7. It's a little different now. And I think I use my guns more when I hear noises. Like my dog will start barking at stuff. Like this morning, my dog's out in the back barking at somebody. Somebody was riding a dirt bike in the lot that I own next door. And I was like, fuck it. So I'll just walk around with a loaded gun. And dude, I've got a guy painting my house, my in-house podcast studio. And I'm like, obviously I'm not drawn on the guy, but I'm walking around with a gun because I hear footsteps and I'm like, this dude's not usually awake this early. And it was him. And I was like, hey, no, you're good. I'm not going to shoot you, promise. But yeah, it's definitely changed the way that I viewed safety and security because I'd never had that happen. And I've lived in very nice areas and very nice places and never had that happen. So having that happen and knowing that it was somebody close to home was kind of a fucking kick in the dick, but it is what it is.
Well, that's to be debatable. It is what it is. Because it comes down to how do you recover from that in terms of how do you heal?
Well, financially, it was made back very quickly.
I don't care about that. I
mentally,
care about how do you heal here? Because you're someone that prides yourself on loyalty.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Right?
The answer
and to be wounded like that is like motherfucker. Like again, I'm someone when I'm just food for thought. When I'm that way, it's like I give myself time to be fucking pissed off, but it's a very short window because I go, I had no control over that.
Yep.
I hope that person fucking figures their shit out. I can't do it for them. But off I go, because you can always make more money. Yes.
100%.
But there's still the wound that's there. How do you recover from the wound?
So I have this thing that I say all the time when people ask me, like, because I've made a lot of people very wealthy. And for many years, I made people very, very wealthy, hundreds of millions of dollars before I even had tens myself. And for a long time, people would be like, dude, you got to stop helping people. You give everybody all this free game. You help everybody get ahead. You got to stop helping people. You got to like be more protective, you got to be less accessible, all these different things. And every time I got fucked over, all the same told you so people would come out and be like, told you, you got to be more this, you got to be more that. And my answer is extremely simple. If somebody does something wrong to me, right, I have options. I can change my behavior or I can accept it for what it is. I would rather accept it for what it is because if I allow someone else's actions to dictate who I become, then who am I? Really, who am I? If you doing something wrong to me changes who I am, then who am I?
They win.
Yeah. It's not about them winning. It's not even about winning. It's just an integrity. It's an integrity issue. Because if I know myself and I'm the same guy I've been since I was fucking poor, I just have cooler toys now. Same person. Still treat people the exact same way. Nothing has changed. And I judge people heavily by how they treat other people, not how they treat me. Because most people treat me well. Most people look at me and are like, that guy's successful, that guy's smart, that guy's funny, that guy's cool. We like him, we're gonna be nice to him. But treat a fucking server like shit in front of me, treat a like valet like shit in front of me, talk down to somebody that works for me, go fuck yourself.
I always, my daughter is phenomenal with it. I'm still working with Jack on it and he's getting a lot better, is when we stay at Waldorf Astoria in Orlando. Mm-hmm. Nice place,
yeah,
5-star fucking place. Love it there. But we went down in the morning. They all knew who Jack was by the second day. I mean, it was great. And we get their buffet that they have. But please, may I have? Thank you. And I preach to my kids because we owned a 500-seat banquet facility for years. I grew up in the restaurant business.
Very cool. Yeah, I did 9 years in restaurants.
I was washing pots and pans at 8 to be near my mom. I used to ride my bike to Caruso's Lakeshore House in Canandaigua, New York. And so I teach my kids, servers are working so hard. And they really make most of their money on what's called gratuity because we're being gracious for them serving us. And we're showing our graciousness in money. And that's why you give them a tip. And my daughter just got it dialed in. Please, may I thank you with everything. And Jack is getting there as well.
That's amazing at 8, dude.
Dude, you'll meet him. He is please and thank you for literally everything. And if he doesn't, I, in a very respectful way, remind him. I don't get on him. I don't lower my voice. I just keep it the way it is. And I quietly remind him on what to do. And because my job is to leave, when I leave this world, I left at a better place through my kids.
Yeah.
That's full stop. That's just how it is. So I'm a big one with anyone in the service industry. You take the time to talk to them because out of that nice interaction you're having with them, there's hundreds of times they deal with fucking assholes.
Yeah, dicks.
Complete fucking
100%.
dicks. Especially here in Vegas, where people come into town, they feel entitled, and because they're leveraging something to have the money they have. A lot of them, it's fake. It's fake equity, or fake liquidity they have to fucking be a high roller at the crabs table at Caesars for a couple hours to treat everyone there like a fucking asshole.
Cool, bro. Yeah, it's fun.
Good for you. I really don't gamble, so I'm like, whatever. But to treat people that way, I'm out.
Yeah, it takes a lot to get me angry. Disrespect, lying, and stealing. Those are the only 3 things. And oftentimes, I don't get angry when people disrespect me. I just kind of laugh because I could give 2 fucks. But when people disrespect other people and I see it makes like a meaningful impact on them, I'm like, fuck this guy. This dude's a fucking dickhead.
It's a true test of how somebody, like to work with somebody or even have somebody in your circle of friendship, if they treat other people like shit.
Yeah.
Because it shows their own insecurity that they're masking in this overt act of rudeness and neglect of someone else's feelings.
100%.
Right?
I have like a rule in industry in general, in business. I will not do business with somebody if they take their ring off at a conference. If I know they're married and they're not wearing a ring at a conference, I will never do business with them. And I say this shit all the fucking time. If you're going to fuck over your life partner who you have a fucking contract with, like you have more than a verbal, more than a handshake, more than just like a standard business agreement, like you have a contract for life with, you're going to fuck that person over, you are going to annihilate me the second you have the opportunity. So I'm like very big on respect, take care of people, treat people right, because you can't control what other people do. You can only control yourself. And if you do your best to be a good person, you're never wrong. You didn't do anything wrong.
How often do you sleep well at night?
Fuck, dude, every night.
Right.
It's so rare that I don't sleep. Like, I have to be really, really, really stressed to not sleep. And I mean like that maybe once every few years. Like I sleep like a fucking baby, dude.
It's awesome.
And I wake up, whether I sleep 5 hours or 8 hours, I wake up feeling great.
And you're ready to go.
Always.
Right? You strike me as somebody, you're tactical with your time. You're very good with your time. Like you mostly fly private, domestic?
I have rules on private. So I spent 1.7 flying private last year and it taught me so much. So what I learned was if a flight is less than 2 hours, always fly private because you're going to spend more time commuting to the airport, waiting at the airport, going through the airport, getting your bags from the airport than you are flying. And in that case, it's a very inefficient use of time to fly commercial. If you're flying more than 3 hours to 5 hours or internationally, fucking fly commercial. Unless you're like, dude, these routes suck or there's a layover. Like I flew back from Mammoth. I had to spend 40 grand. There was no option. I had to get to Florida. I had a conference that was snowed in. Airlines were canceled, whatever. I had to get a G4 fly back. It is what it is. But if I had the option to fly commercial for that 5.5 hour flight, I'd have fucking taken it all day. Now, did I sleep on that plane like a fucking baby? Absolutely. Was I comfy as shit? Absolutely. Did they have my favorite yogurt that operator usually has? Nope. She couldn't get it delivered by Instacart. They took it to the wrong place. But I still slept like a baby. It was great. I woke up, I was very refreshed, picked up the new Maybach, went to the conference, everything was awesome, but I would have done just fine commercial. And I've challenged myself since that happened to try to adhere to that. And I've flown fucking Spirit and I've flown, G550s. And to me, the only thing that matters is how you feel. And I don't get on Spirit and think I'm better than anybody. Do I look around and say, this is some people at Walmart shit? Absolutely. But there's people at Spirit that get up to the checkout counter. Anytime I fly commercial, this happens at least once on one of those like cheap airlines where they charge you for everything, where somebody gets up to the counter, thinks their bag's covered and it's not. I have probably bought 20 people's baggage for them. Not bought, but paid for it to be on the plane because they're like, I don't have the money. What are you going to do? Just leave my bag here? And I'm like, I got it. Because it's just sad. And it's like, I've been there, But if I can avoid it, sure. But it just doesn't make logical sense to always fly private. I mean, to drop almost $2 million on flying private for no fucking reason. And also, mind you, you will never see a place on the internet where I fucking post it. Story posts, yeah, sure, whatever. But I don't post my life. I don't have to show anybody shit. But I learned a lot from doing it.
You're super cool with like in our mastermind, a couple times you said, hey, I'm flying to LA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's like anybody wants a ride on the plane. I've got it. Don't worry. Because there's other people have done that and said, well, you got to cover gas. You got like,
pay for these seats. Split it with me.
Split it with me. Because I've never flown private. Do I want to? Sure, I'd love to sometime. But I'm like, that's like the nicest thing ever. Is you're just like, hey man, I've got empty seats. If you're going to LA. I'm
already paying for it. And it's a shared experience.
Right.
And dude, look, people sometimes message me and I'm like, I don't fucking know that guy or that dude looks like a scammer or I don't know, that guy's kind of sus. Yeah. Do I reply to them? No. I mean, I get fucking, dude, shit, let's look. My phone fell. What do we got today? We got 1,037 unread messages up from 540 yesterday and 598 unanswered phone calls. With like 50-ish social notifications and 100 Slack notifications. And my unread emails are 231,113. I get fucking bombarded with shit. So it's very easy for me to be like, I don't even want to deal with that and just not fucking reply to people. So when people message me and I'm like, that dude seems weird or I can't get a good reference check, fuck that shit. But dude, I used to let people fly on planes with me for free. People would fly out to get on a plane with me, to fly to another place, to fly home. And I would give them free coaching on the fucking plane. I would just give them infinite free consulting. And I tried to film content. The podcast that I'm doing in the van started off as an airplane podcast.
I was going to talk to you about that. I was going to bring that up. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, the problem is doing a podcast on an airplane, all you hear is whoosh, and no matter how much audio processing you do, it still doesn't sound very good. And we tried using lavs with everybody. We tried so many different things, but the ambient noise of the plane, even if I audio process it, and I used to produce music. I mean, I know how to fucking DS. I know how to remove background noise. It still just doesn't sound perfect. And you end up losing some frequencies that make it sound awkward.
That's too bad.
And yes, you could figure out a way to fix it, but I was realizing it was a very expensive thing and it took away some of the joys of flying for me. Because at that point, I'm taking something that's supposed to be comfortable and convenient and turning it into work on my way to likely go work with people that I work with. So it was like, I enjoyed it. It was really cool. I got to give people great experiences. I took a whole bunch of people on heavy jets and gave them a bunch of advice and the content wasn't useful, but we had a great time. And some of these people actually, like, I still talk to. I mean, they're good people. I don't give a fuck what somebody's socioeconomic status is. If they're a good person, they're my friend. I got friends that are still in the hood. I got friends that have way more fucking money than me and everywhere in between. And I could give two shits who you are. I just care about who you are as a person. And the podcast on the plane thing would have been so cool. But when I realized I couldn't do that, and then the van popped in my head, I was like, oh.
When you posted, like, I'm now, like, I've done over 50 episodes. I'm a podcast junkie, not in terms of some, like, I love Rogan. There's some content I listen to. I love All In Podcast. I love those guys. They're fucking awesome. But how people do, like, their set. Yeah. And the lighting. You did something with a guy somewhere and he, like, read off your bio ahead of time. It was like an 8K. And I don't fucking remember who, and this was like a couple months ago. He posted it and I'm like,
oh, Joe Naz.
It was,
dude,
out
in Cali.
The quality, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, we're Steven Spielberg. Holy shitballs, dude.
Joe Naz is awesome, dude.
That was very, very well done. That's the stuff that gets me going when I see that. So when I saw you just throwing out B-roll of, hey, coming soon, one of my podcasts is in my Sprinter, I'm like, oh yeah. Get some fucking GoPros and some suction cups, put them up all over the place.
GoPros. Bro, we have FX3s, baby.
Oh, dude, yes.
Yeah, I spent like 40, 50 grand on just equipment. Just forget the 250 on the Sprinter, 220 or whatever it was.
Oh, that's nothing.
But 50 on the equipment alone. And then the crew obviously costs money, but
it is, but you if you can capture good, again, it's a balance of a good it starts with a conversation.
Yep.
It starts with having a conversation, letting that person talk.
Yep.
Because with ADHD, a lot of times you're already thinking about, while that person's talking, something else you want to say to them without letting them talk. And you're talking over them.
Yep.
It took me.
It's conscious restraint, dude. And then you have the idea and you lose it. Like when I told you a story about that girl, why was I telling you a story? To tell you the math equation. It took me fucking 10 minutes to get back there. But we had a good conversation in the meantime.
And the thing is, it worked itself out.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm really good at finding my way back. All my ADHD friends or people that I work with, they'll come over to my house and we'll all be talking and we'll end up fucking all over the place. And I'm like, oh yeah, but what you were saying 20 minutes ago was X. And they're like, how are you so much better at this? And I'm like, dude, a lot of practice fucking messing shit up.
Well, it's practice. It's failing forward.
Yeah.
And that to be sitting in this chair, talking to somebody who has a wealth of just stories, information, experience, and to let them speak and I still catch myself. Like there's still times, like you said stuff.
For sure.
But I shut the fuck up, Jeff, because Brandon's going to fucking say something and let Brandon do his fucking thing. That is something that most people can't do. And that's why a lot of people start a podcast, and I think it's like 97% of all podcasts don't go past like 3 episodes.
Wow.
It's some bananas number, because most people, you can spend the money and get all this good stuff, but to have a good conversation that's going to resonate with an audience takes time. You can't just shoot one episode and throw out a bunch of, clip it and throw it out there.
Yeah, well, you got to build the audience first.
You know, it took me to have my first viral clip I started in January 17th, was mid-April. It's at 2.3 million views.
Wow.
And it's of me.
That's actually really good.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
really fast, dude.
And it's of me parenting, how I don't coddle my kids. And how people, 90% were great. They're like, yes, fuck yeah, thank you. But there's that 10% of people that were like, how dare you tell me to parent my kids? The best comment ever was someone said, he obviously beats his kids. And my comment back to that person was, only the back of the head, hashtag no marks. And that one fucking people went nuts. You know,
That's
you
so
have something
funny.
viral when people start arguing and debating within the comments and tagging other people. Then you just sit back with a fucking popcorn.
Yeah, 100%.
Then you know you've got a viral clip.
That's where it's at. Controversy is. I mean, look at Eminem, look at Marilyn Manson. Some of the greatest artists of all time built their careers on controversy.
And you just keep pushing. The thing is, it's not giving a shit about judgment
Yeah.
and letting people, getting out the best of people and shutting the fuck up. The end.
Yeah.
It's not that fucking hard. Like Sean, we both went on his podcast. I love him, but he's got this like stoic monotone. He makes it work.
Oh, for sure.
He makes it work. I give credit where credit's due, and I've had him on, but that's not my style.
Yeah.
It's not going to be your
style. He
style
gives me like
either.
chill stoner energy, you know, which is cool. Because it
Totally
balances
chill
some
stoner energy.
people like us out.
Yeah.
But then when you have two of that are like chill stoner energy, it's like, No, but there's some really interesting guests on there. I mean, like some people that are like that group that we're in, that mastermind group, there are some of the most full of shit people ever that definitely paid to be on it. And then there are some of the world's most like renowned experts in fields. And I'm like a huge Lane Norton fanboy. I've been a Lane Norton fan since I was 250 pounds at 17 and lost a bunch of weight. Like him, Jim Stepani, Chris Gethin. These are people that I fucking watched growing up as a valuable source of information and resource. And to like be in a conversation with the guy and have like private messages with him because I did a podcast one time, I was like, dude, that's fucking cool. Ben Greenfield, like I was very early on in the biohacking space. Like, yeah, I fucking paid Ben Greenfield for a call. I totally forgot I just remembered it now that we have a call. But I paid him just to literally hear about his current take on supplements, what's changed, like just for the information, because he's so much more in tune with it than I am. I mean, back in the day, I used to gift his book. I bought like 10 of his book and gifted it out to people that I thought would think it was cool. So to like have conversations with those people, which arguably like, yeah, okay, in the world of money, do I have more money than them? Sure, but that means nothing. Money literally means nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I don't think that it does personally. Some people do. And I mean, when you have no money, money means something. But once you have some money, money is not that important. At that point, it's about who you are as a person, what you know, what value you add and contribute to society. So to be around people like that have contributed so much to society that I look up to, and then to be able to sit in the group chat and talk shit about people that are full of shit and everybody get mad at me, I love that.
That's what I loved about you from the beginning, is you started throwing fucking shit at people. Man, I love this guy. I love this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't tolerate the bullshit because, you know, there are people that throw numbers around. Like there's a kid in that group who was like, I did 153 million in the last 90 days. The kid's in like his mid-20s. It's insulting to somebody who's actually worked to make $150 million in revenue appear and done it, because I know how hard that is and I know how full of shit you are. And he was at a networking event, this kid, and he says to like a good friend of mine, he's like, yeah, I did 153 million in the last 90 days. And I'm like, he comes up to me like, yo, have you heard of this guy? This guy's fucking, what the fuck is this? And I was like, oh, that kid's full of shit. Because I'm educating him on shit he's trying to tell me he knows about. Like I didn't build the shit he's talking about selling years ago. So I was just like, yeah, this is not it. But to have that type of balls, to be in that type of group and front that hard, you have to get called out.
An angle you should consider is like what Goob does.
Oh, I love him. That dude's fucking incredible. Goob and Baller Busters are two of my favorite pages.
Goob and I are now like
I've chatted with him a couple times. That dude's awesome. We have mutuals. Yeah. He's a fucking stud.
Goob and I are now we now follow each other. We're connected on Instagram, and I've told him, dude, you come to Vegas, dinner and drinks on me. Come on, he's like, done. Would love to.
100%, dude. I'll book the fucking flight because that dude's a legend.
Like I love what he does. I think because he does it more in the physical fitness space, like fitness influencer space. Yeah. That's his thing. I think there's a niche for you in the entrepreneur space.
Well, Baller Busters does it, and they do it really well.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I can't also do it.
I think you could, man.
I certainly could, but
That's a very small pond of people that could actually do it.
Yeah.
And you come from a spot where you can do it.
It's just,
and you have all the intangibles, Brandon, to do it.
it's just the negativity that comes from that. Like, I enjoy consuming the content because I find it entertaining. But for me to be that publicly negative, it's just not who I am. Like, I'm just a really fucking good dude. I'm not
Fair
nice.
enough.
I don't think I'm a nice guy. I think I'm a kind person. I'm very fair and reasonable, and I'm kind. I'm not fucking nice. Like, I need to want to be nice to you, but I will always be kind to you. It's like and love. Like my mother always says, you don't have to like me, you have to love me. And I'm like, I don't know if I do either of those some days. No, I'm just kidding. She's cool. But yeah, I think I could definitely pull it off, and I certainly have the acumen to do it. But do I want my brand to be one that fosters growth and community and entertainment, or do I want my brand to be one that fosters negativity and judgment and hate? And I would rather participate in someone else's hate campaign than create my own. This is just not who I am.
I think that, again, I'm going to push you on this one, is because you almost become like a Robin Hood. Because think of all the people that are going to be subscribing to these people's, they're all got some kind of coaching program. They all got some kind of SaaS in it they're selling, right?
Yeah.
For you to peel back the layers and go, okay, look, this is who I am. And you can come at me all you want to, because I have fucking Teflon on my back, motherfucker, because of all my life experiences and where I'm at in my life and the losses I've taken. And this is what I'm seeing with this person and how Goob does it with the fucking green screen.
Dude.
And I mean, it's so good. It's because it's just, he sticks to the facts, man. And
Fargo Talks. Welcome to the show.
well, and that's why I reached out to him, and I'm thinking to myself, first of all, I don't pay for any of my shit. I'm all fucking good.
Yeah.
And I know when I DM'd him, I knew he'd fucking look at my shit,
Yeah.
because it was about half an hour before he replied back, because you could see where they fucking, he saw it, and he came back. He's like, hey, man, because I go, hey, the people that you kind of outed, I've had both of them, two people you've outed, I've had on my show. And he's like, dude, it happens. It's okay. It is what it is. And he was so nice. He goes, if there's anyone that you think that might not be legit, send me their information. Between us, I'll tell you if they're real or not.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's a
I
good
messaged him.
dude.
I was curious because he does coaching, right? And a lot of people in that space, they hire teams, they have infrastructure.
Yeah.
And it's really just like they're the face. So I messaged him and I was like, hey man, question. Do you physically do your coaching, or do you use a combination of automation, systems, and human resources? And he was like, no, I physically do it myself. And I genuinely believe that. And I think it's so incredible because the dude's really fucking sharp. Like a really, really sharp guy, knows his shit. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I'm not like a fan of a ton of people. I don't fanboy over people, but I'm a fan of people's content.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy the conversations. I enjoy the dialogue. There's only a few people I'm like really a fan of in the world. Like fan. Like if I met them, I'd be like, fuck, I got to think about what to say. It'd be fucking Kanye West, Marilyn Manson, and Elon Musk. Those would be my three people. Those are my three on my hit list that would be like, I could die happy. Because Marilyn Manson's one of the greatest artists of all time, and he's fucking brilliant. I could care less about his cancel bullshit. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't care. The guy's brilliant. Elon Musk, obvious reasons. Obvious. And Kanye West is just such a great marketer. He's so good at being controversial. And he's like a guy with 9 lives. He always finds a way out of whatever the situation is and comes back stronger, which I've done on a smaller scale, obviously, because I'm not fucking Kanye West. But I find it so impressive. And those are people that I'm like, I'd fanboy over. But there's a lot of people where I'm like, I love their content. And there's people where I don't need more. Like, there's shit that's recycled. Like, I mean, my buddy Andy Elliott is a good example. He has some really good content, okay? And then he has the same piece of content that gets posted once a week. Take your shirt off. You have a 6-pack, you don't have a 6-pack, you'd be fired if you worked for me. I get that it gets engagement, but bro, you're posting the same clip every week. I had somebody, they called me and they were talking to me about working on a project. And they were like, yeah, I got training from Andy Elliott. I'm like, Andy Elliott's a fucking incredible sales trainer. I genuinely believe that. He's an awesome sales trainer. He's a very smart guy, a good family man. Like, he's actually a good person, right? Like, there are a lot of people that are not, and people can talk all the shit they want about him. And he did some bad things in his past, but my experiences with him have been very genuine. That said, somebody called me and they're like, yeah, I'm doing X, Y, and Z in insurance. And, you know, I got Andy's coaching program and it's really helped me. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I remember flying to Phoenix, going to Andy's event, hanging out there, and then going back to his house and coaching his entire team on how to properly sell insurance. So to me, it was just like, that is so funny. And I have so many like friends, like a lot of people hate Brad Lee or think he's a prick or whatever. I personally haven't had really bad interactions with him. We almost did a project together and it didn't work out. And I mean, it was like so benign. It was like he wanted to do a thing. He had the opportunity. I explained how I could make a lot of money, could have killed it together, and wanted me to take like 10% of a project. And I'm like, Brad, first of all, I'm the subject matter expert. Second of all, I make more money than you. Why would I take 10%? He's like, well, I have X, Y, and Z. And I was like, okay, but you don't have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and K. And you don't know how to get them. He's like, oh, no, I'll figure it out. Project could have been $1 billion company. It is not $1 billion company.
How much does he charge for his podcast? Do you
I have
know?
no clue.
I think it's like 15. I think like 10 or 15 grand is what he charges.
Wow.
Which is, yeah.
I mean, his engagement used to be incredible. And he got a lot of algo issues over time. Like, he doesn't buy it. Like, he does have legitimate engagement. He's not like to me, he's not a bad person.
No.
At all. I mean, I've met some really interesting characters just hanging out at his office. You know, I mean, he had an F8, I had an F8. I got mine first and was like, what'd you get? And like, he got a Raptor R, his didn't get here yet, I got a Raptor R. Like, we have shit in common, and it's like, you know, we've had good times together, and he's a good dude to hang out with. I don't think I could do business with him because he's too like alpha type A, my way or the highway, and I'm too collaborative. That's what I've learned over the time of being friends with him.
Good for you.
But he's a good fucking dude, and he's not like, he genuinely does, like, he wants to entertain, right? But he genuinely does want to help people. And so I look at people like that, and it's like, people can talk all the shit they want about Brad and say he's a bad person. He's never done anything bad to me.
All that matters.
Yeah, right.
All that matters.
So to me, I'm like, Now, if he does something really fucking bad to somebody, then I might be like, yo, all right.
Well, then you pull out the fucking howitzer.
Yeah, but just people being like, he's a dick. Okay, yeah, some people are dicks. I'm not going to, have him over for dinner with his wife and kids, but I mean, we're still cool. That guy doesn't like him.
I've heard that he's like 10 to 15. I heard Pineda is charging now like 20 to 25 grand.
That is shocking to me because that guy has literally zero acumen at all. I am baffled. I agree. That guy, I mean, like, he has a few good clips, but that guy tries really hard, is often misinforming people, doesn't actually have any inherent success or inherently successful traits. And I'm just like, okay, so you did real estate, which, yeah, okay, you and 500 other thousand people, millions, whatever.
And he doesn't have his real estate license, by the way.
Oh, okay, well,
he doesn't have his real estate license.
That's even more bizarre.
Yeah.
I don't hate on people. I just call it like it is. And it's another good example would be, Albert Preciado?
Mm-mm.
Okay, he has an event called Driven. He seems like a really nice guy. Everybody says he's a nice guy. He's very big on preaching, be coachable, be coachable, be coachable. Give me $5,000 for a mastermind. Be coachable, be coachable, be coachable. But the content he makes, I think he wants to do controversial, but he just ends in cringe. And I posted this on one of his posts the other day, and he replies to most people. And he chose not to reply to me, which is kind of a bummer. And I was like, dude, because of mutuals and because I can tell you're a good dude, I want to like you so bad, but you make it so hard. Like, I want to like you, but it's just so embarrassing to watch somebody say such stupid things, put them out into the world, and think in some way, oh, if I'm dumb for long enough, people will give me money.
Have you met Ryan?
Who, Pineda?
Yeah.
No, I haven't, no.
I've known Ryan for years.
Oh, okay. I'm not talking shit about your friend, by the way.
And also, I'm going to point in my life. I don't give a fuck. Because I was a title rep here in town for years. So I've known Ryan for a long time. Ryan is painfully introverted. Painfully introverted. So he forces himself to get out of that to do like WealthCon and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I went to WealthCon last year. I left at lunch. I learned nothing. It was 4 different people got up and they all did the same thing. Got up. I've retired my spouse. I've retired my mom. I've retired this, like, because all the money I'm making. Here's my social media audience that I have. Here's a QR code for my coaching platform. That's literally like 3 to 4 people in a row.
It's a meme at this point.
And Ryan gets up with his colored hair and talks about
I
how
have blue hair, bro. Watch it.
how you want to. Hey, I fell up my back hair for Christ's sake now. And it was, to me, disheartening because again, I'm not the dumbest guy in the room. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I know a room. And he gets up to speak and is talking about, well, if you pay more money, you need to pay more money to get the velvet rope to be behind the stage, to be meeting all the guests that are here. You need to pay more money to go to this thing we're doing in 3 months in Mexico. And there really wasn't any intrinsic value, no intellect. He wasn't sharing his brain with me. And because of that, I left at lunch. And also I have 2 people that I'm very good friends with that used to work for him that got completely fucked over by him.
I heard that from a couple people.
That he just fucking cuts you out and they're gone, eviscerated, and good people. Like, again, there's 2 sides to every story.
Yeah, for sure.
And Ryan, you want to fucking come on, we'll have that talk. But I'm not a fan of Ryan because of, he also, and this is again, secondhand information. I'm not a God guy. I'm a universe guy, but I was Mormon for 13 years, out. I'm like, fuck this. Fucking cult, I'm out. He leverages the church sometimes for business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. Like, I always respect, you could pray to a fucking tree if you want to.
Yeah.
As long as you're a good
Do what
person,
you do.
you. But to monetize that is like,
When
whoa.
people bring up God in business, I know immediately that they're full of shit.
Look at Sean Cannell, the guy that does Think Media. I'm
No idea who he is,
and they're one of the top, if not the top, YouTube coaching training platforms in the world. They're here in Vegas, and they give away a lot of shit. Like their YouTube channel is awesome. Omar is like one of their top guys. I'm in his coaching program right now. Omar's a pastor. Omar has all this Jesus stuff. Okay, like I love Omar because he's just very smart at YouTube stuff. And I'm looking to get a bigger audience and scale my YouTube. He's one of the best. I'm paying the big money to be in that group of a maximum of 30 people a year he takes on. But they do a lot of religious stuff. And I'm just like, oh, no, I don't care about your God.
Yeah, your faith has nothing to do with my business.
Nothing. Fucking nothing.
I don't care that you were a drug addict and an alcoholic and you found God and it fixed your life. That's great. I'm not a
Homeless.
drug addict. I'm not an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I have made mistakes that have put me in a bad position before. And I have had businesses fail that have put me in bad positions before. And I have worked my way to get out of those. I didn't close my eyes and pray every night. And then when things went well, accredit it to God.
Yeah.
That's just, it's silly.
Come on, man.
Do I believe in more intelligent life? Absolutely. Do I believe in consciousness? Of course. That's a thing, right? But the stories that people started off telling people to prevent them from killing each other and living immoral lives ended up being the stories that led to people killing each other and living immoral lives. And they're killing in the name of the exact same fucking person, thing, being, creature, spirit, whatever. Like the code, the moral code that was supposed to give us guidance to prevent us from doing everything wrong is the very reason that people do things wrong to each other all over the world.
Yeah.
And, everybody's got their own God and their own relationship, and that's all cool, dude. I'm not telling anybody what to believe. I don't tell people what I believe very often. It doesn't really matter what I believe because what you believe is what you believe. And if I can change your beliefs, then they weren't that fucking strong in the first place. But if you're going to get on a fucking stage and tell me that I need to be a man of God if I want to be successful, probably going to have a disagreement on a stage.
WealthCon, when I'm there, did a fucking prayer. A prayer.
That is embarrassing.
I'm like, what?
Honestly, that's kind of embarrassing.
And the thing is, it was at the Mirage, first of all. So question like the fucking, like at the Mirage, really. So we're at the Mirage. There's probably 800 to 1,000 people there.
Good crowd.
I talked to one of my buddies. He said half of them are comped because they pay for his coaching program. So you get comped and you get a ticket for WealthCon. But the thing is with Ryan, he has a army of people that just blindly follow him. Whatever he says, and they pay him whatever it is, and they believe in him. And I know people in this program, and I've always said, awesome, what's he done for you? Well, and I've yet to meet somebody that have said, I am exponentially wealthier, better person,
happier,
yeah, more enlightened because of being in Ryan Pineda's coaching program. And
I think that goes for every one of them.
But there's so many of them that are out there. That's why a great
example would be the Wes Watson guy. Like, dude, I don't care how much tren you take. It doesn't make you any better at anything. And I don't care about your halfway fake prison stories. They don't matter to me. They're irrelevant in the real world. You're going to tell me I went to prison, so by default, I know more than you. That's actually literally the opposite of the truth. to be telling people like, oh, I'll help you with your coaching business. Show me a successful business you had before you started telling people you'll coach them. That's where I get really hung up, is when it's in my fucking Instagram bio, or it used to be. I don't fucking remember, but it's most people telling you about the stuff don't actually do the stuff. And it's a world of coaches coaching coaches wanting to coach coaches so that they can coach coaches. And eventually somebody's got to be coached, right? No, everybody's got to be coached. The common theme is that every one of these fucking asshole influencer guys with a fucking program says the number one thing is be coachable and invest in mentorship. I paid this guy so much money. It's like rappers, bro. Rappers, I mean, dude, I was talking to my buddy Riff Raff, and he was like, yeah, I'm getting this chain made by this guy. It's going to be 150 grand. I'm like, I can make that chain for 60 grand. He's like, yeah, but you don't understand, because if he makes it, he's co-signing it, and now I get more clout. And I'm like, no, I understand, but I also understand that it's a financially bad decision, so as your friend, I'm advising you not to do it. He's like, no, you don't understand. It's the exact same thing. Like, you got all these guys that are bragging about paying Grant Cardone money. I'm like, dude, you paid that scumbag money? That guy's a bad person. Like, he's a Google search. He's a bad person. He lies about being a billionaire. Like, he's a bad person. You paid that guy money and you're bragging about it? The fuck is wrong with you?
Why do you think people drink the Grant Cardone Kool-Aid?
I mean, I think most people are just malleable in general. I think if they were given other Kool-Aid first, if they got the Brad Lee Kool-Aid first, they would have drank that instead. Brad Lee's just a funny version of Grant that actually is like kind of somewhat of a good person, I think. But I've never heard a good story about Grant Cardone. Never once. Not from his friends, not from his colleagues, not from people that know him very intimately. Maybe some Scientology people. Maybe.
Is he a Scientologist?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's like
that.
the number one donor to the church. There's like this whole, or supposedly, I don't know that that's true. I can't confirm that.
It's like Tom Cruise.
But
has
there's
to be.
John Legere from,
yeah.
they have that whole thing going back and forth, which is so embarrassing, by the way, for Grant, because it's like, okay, you got on a clubhouse in the middle of the pandemic, and
Awesome.
the guy eviscerated you for being a scumbag and lying.
Awesome.
Okay.
I love Clubhouse, by the way.
The Clubhouse was great.
Were you on Clubhouse when it came out?
Yeah, we had like 500 people on the average one. It was pretty cool.
The timing of Clubhouse, I still have like 5,000 people that follow me on that thing. I've been on it in months.
What we used to do is,
I love Clubhouse.
we would bring subject matter experts within a big community of hundreds of thousands of people that we were all in. We'd bring on SMEs and we'd all talk about different stuff like once every week, randomly, like pop up, and we get like 500, 600 people concurrent. It was really fun.
Clubhouse was, and I became a group of us became great friends.
Yeah.
We ended up getting together in San Diego and
Dude, yeah.
partying
it was
together.
a great relationship builder.
And it was like COVID, so everyone's on lockdown, and here's this voice only, social media platform that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was
The
cool.
timing was just fantastic, and it was just funny because you'd have, certain people would come on, like Zuckerberg came on,
Yeah.
Musk came on,
Yeah.
and you could sit there and listen. But Cardone would come in, and all these people would fucking come in, but I'm like, I'm waiting for him to say something to make
Something
me
meaningful.
smarter, to make me
Give me some piece
make
of
me laugh,
information.
something.
No, there's a common theme. I see two routes where these types of people succeed on the internet. They show people a lifestyle that people wish they could have, and then those people blindly follow because they see a lifestyle, or they pretend really hard for long enough that somebody's like, they got to be doing something right. It's a lot of fake it till you make it and a lot of look at me. But I'm, like you said earlier, peel back the onion. I'm the type of guy that says, what have they actually done? Where have they been successful? And you got guys that are like, if you've never been sued, you're not successful. I'm like, dude,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I have never been fucking sued. And I mean, I've sued people, unfortunately, some of which used to be friends and some of which are scumbags. But dude, like, you don't have to be sued to be successful. Sometimes you just get sued. Like, deals just don't go the way you want them to go. I get that. But all these fucking people, they take whatever it is that happens to them. They flip it, they spin it, they chop it, they screw it, and they try to use it as engagement to sell a thing that doesn't exist. It's all, info products are largely air because the people selling the info products don't actually have the info.
Correct.
Like, it's crazy to me.
It is, the thing I've seen is people are selling air, right? I waited, launched this thing, got fired from being a title rep in September. Thank God, because I was doing way too much of this. Fine. Next thing I know, then I was at $1 million a month of an audience. I'm like, I could advise people how to do this.
Yeah.
I can launch my own fucking firm now. And now I'm at 2 million a month. And now the thing is, because of the confidence I have, I'm onboarding clients every week, whether it's help with their social media stuff or help with building a podcast, because I don't sell a thing.
Yeah, but here's the difference. You actually did the thing.
I have the data.
Yeah,
I can go to my phone.
show
go,
you,
here's
hey,
my
here's
YouTube
how it
numbers.
started, here's how it went, here's how it's going. And that's the difference is most people telling you stuff don't actually do the stuff.
And there's that, whenever you see somebody that has, watch this one, they have a hustle mentality. Like, I hate the word grind. I'm 54. I'll break a hip if I fucking grind something. I'm not grinding anything. Fuck you, grind. I work smart.
I grind coffee.
You know, grind your fucking coffee. Yeah, yes, grind coffee. But I'm not going to go like, I'm going to kill today. No. I want to help people.
Yeah.
And my price is my price. I'm $500 an hour. And I had one guy say, well, how much for 3 hours? $1,500.
That's very reasonable.
It's $1,500 is what I'm
very
charging.
reasonable.
And so what I'm doing is I'm onboarding people now. I'm blessed, the people that are coming on to work with me. And once I get to critical mass, I'll stay right there for a while. Then I'll raise my prices.
Yeah, which is what makes logical sense.
And that's logical. That's a logical progression of offering a service to somebody with tangible fucking results.
What I love is the look at me guys who sell a thing that they know nothing about and then yell at people who get mad at them for not knowing about the thing or question them, and then try to like publicly, disgrace somebody for being like, hey, actually there's something wrong here. And they brag about their $1 million mansions, their cars and this and that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, if you are so fake that the only way that you can get customers is to rent a big house, walk around all day on camera and say stupid shit, I mean, I pity the fool that buys into it, but also, like, what is wrong with you? Like, can't you just do something productive? And what are you going to do with that money that's going to make you happier? Because you already scammed enough people to get the big house. You already scammed enough people to get the big cars. You're already flying on private jets. So you've made enough money. You've scammed enough people for enough money. What now?
Ever watch Tombstone?
No, I don't watch TV. I actually do not watch TV ever.
Really?
Ever.
Really?
I watch movies once in a while. I do not watch TV ever. I don't consume any content that I don't find educational for more than a few minutes at a time. It's very weird.
Like, it's not weird. It's
girls
you.
that I have 85-inch TVs in every fucking room in my house, but I don't turn them on ever. I'll still play video games here and there. Like if I'm between calls, I'll play video games here and there.
That.
But
all right, there's a movie called Tombstone.
Okay.
All right, Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, fucking great movie.
Okay.
All right, about Wyatt Earp, great movie. And there's a part in it, Michael Biehn, who is an actor, he plays a guy named Johnny Ringo. And there's a line in the movie where Booth was the guy's last name, was the actor, but he says Ringo's got this pit, this hole inside of him that can never be filled, and it's of hatred and sadness is what he has. And Powers Booth was the actor that said that line in that movie. That's what these people have. They have this dark hole,
insatiable,
that's never going to be filled, and they just keep thinking that the homes, the watches, the flying places and taking a picture of yourself in a fucking private jet.
Which, God, is so cringe.
I would
do you ever think about what other people, sorry to cut you off.
You're
do you
fine.
ever think about what other people think about you when you're existing in life? So there's two main schools of thought that I've come from in time. And I've said, okay, well, what are people going to think of me? Right. Was one thing I used to think when I do things or when I would wear things or, my fucking hair was blue for a couple years. And like, what are people going to think was like a way that I lived in the past. That was like something that I really, really, really cared about. And then after a while, I was just kind of like, does it really matter? But I think some people blur the line and they forget that it does sometimes matter. Because if you look like a dick and nobody's there to tell you look like a dick, you still look like a dick. I go out, dude, when I fly, I will never have my phone out. The only time I'm taking a selfie is if I'm sending a picture to a friend or a chick. Like, and it's literally just me laying down on a fucking plane. That's it. I have fucking rules. Like when I'm on planes with people, there's like no pictures, no videos, unless we're like playing like cards or something and it's like fun. But there's no posting, there's no downloading. Don't fuck up my Wi-Fi speed. I got work to do. Like, because people do that shit, dude. On a plane, you don't have a lot of bandwidth. So people download a video, you are all fucked for half an hour. Like there goes my ability to work. So I've got like very strict rules, but you know, we make satire. Like my friend Alex and I, we went to Mammoth for her birthday and I flew her out and back private and then I had to fly to Miami private. So fucking fuck me, right? But we went there and we made a joke where we got like a fake plastic red carpet and she was like, I don't care if you paid for this. And it's a really funny content piece making fun of all the girls that get on people's planes and are just like there for the content.
I saw that.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was fun.
It was good.
We hit. She and I do really good on. She's one of the best organic content creators I've ever met. She's so incredible, such a great friend, and everything we do together hits. And it's just so fun doing it. And I'm not like even in most of the shit, right? I'm just hanging out like, dude, do it this way, or like, hey, maybe tweak that. That's such a good idea.
I'm very excited for you with this new chapter of what you're doing with podcasts.
It's gonna be so fun, man.
And
the
really
best part
excited for
is
you.
there's no fucking offer. I mean, I had dinner with a guy the other night that came from the group that's really awesome. Great guy, public speaker, awesome dude. And he was like, talk to me about like personal brand. And I was like, yeah, you know, years ago, I filmed video content for a while, but I was filming myself. I didn't have a format. I didn't have a style. I paid a company to tell me what to say and to edit the clips. And it wasn't like they did anything wrong. My heart wasn't in it in that way. It was before I found the desire to build the community and got thousands and thousands of people involved in the idea of getting better, which I do completely for free, right? And so at that time, I was just like, I want to give out information that is good information and build a brand. And it was when I first became friends with Brad. And I was like, I'm going to film a bunch of good content. I'm going to put it out there. People are going to receive it well. And some of the videos, yeah, sure, whatever, did fine. You know, 10,000, 50,000, 5,000, 30,000, 80,000, 100,000, 30,000, 20,000. None of them really hit. And my common theme was, one, I produced it all myself. And two, it was me with a fucking tripod, putting the tripod in front of myself, standing there and then awkwardly talking and not knowing what to do with my hands. And so I kind of was like, there's got to be a better way. And a friend of mine called me up and was like, dude, you got to stop doing this. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you got to stop making content and posting it. And I was like, why? Like, I genuinely enjoy doing it. I like some of the talking points. Some of them are a little annoying, but I deleted all this shit since then. Some of them are a little annoying, but whatever. He was like, bro, it's one of my best friends. And he was like, it looks so bad because everybody that does that is not actually successful in real life. And you're actually really successful in real life. So for you to do that, it makes you look like you're not. And it's horrible optically. And I got really unhappy with that conversation and was like, fuck you, basically. I mean, I didn't say fuck you, he's my friend, right? So I was just like, whatever, dude. That's your opinion. That's fine. I'm going to keep doing it. A couple months later, randomly, I get spammed with like 20,000 bot followers overnight. And I'm like, oh, you fuck. And my algo and reach went to shit for a long time. And I've slowly waited for them to have tried. And I mean, dude, there's still probably 15,000 fake accounts that follow me that I can't. I mean, I could pay somebody to get rid of them, but it's a violation of TOS.
Yep.
So I could get banned for getting rid of the followers that nerfed my engagement. And it's like, I could start a new account, but then what am I accomplishing? So I'm just like, kind of like, fuck it.
Leave it.
But for a while, I wouldn't even post because when that happened, I was like, I always critically look at people's engagement. And I was just like, dude, my engagement's not going to match up. I don't want to post anymore. And I stopped posting, period. I haven't posted anything other than collaborator posts in over a year and a half, maybe going on like 2 years, something like that. Like at all, because my algo was shit, or rather my reach was shit. And my algo was hitting a bunch of accounts that didn't exist. So it completely removed the desire for me to even do it anymore over one of my friends, which I think I know who it was, being petty and a dick because they didn't like what I was doing. And somebody else told me they did it, so I think they did it, but they were still good friends. It was done with good intention, but it was just like fucked up to remove the option for me to decide what I was going to do. And then I've lived all this great experience. I've flown all over the world, all these jets, all these cars, all this shit. I mean, dude, I've had fucking 30 supercars. Never posted one of them. Could I have? Yeah. I had the option if I wanted to be that look at me guy. I for sure could have. And the difference is I don't sell anybody anything. There's no like pitch. But I was at dinner the other day with that guy, sorry, ADHD. And he was like, dude, yeah, this personal brand thing. I told him a story of how I used to do the content for fun. He's like, yeah, but you got to build a funnel and monetize it. And I'm like, no, I literally don't. Like I make money already. I don't have to do that. He's like, no, you have to monetize it. And I'm like, No, I monetize elsewhere. I do other stuff that makes real money. I'm not looking to make an extra few $100,000 from, getting people to buy some fucking bullshit course. Caveat, I have a course on advertising that I built to teach friends how to advertise. And I sell it to people that I don't know for 20 grand, but I don't ever advertise it. I've never talked about it. If people come to me and say, I want to do what you do, I say, here's a fucking course, here's a link, it's 20 grand, 7 hours. They're like, 7 hours for 20 grand? And I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. That's how my company does shit. This is literally everything we do. You want it, take it. You don't want it, I could give 2 fucks. I actually sold somebody out of it. And then they still bought it. I was like, look, dude, you already know how to run ads. I don't think this is going to be worth anything. Like, I don't know if, and the numbers he was telling me may have been bigger than what he was actually doing, but I was like, I just don't know if this is going to give you enough value to warrant this. And I'm going to feel bad. And he was like, well, let's say I don't feel like it gives enough value. Can I text you? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, can I text you and ask you questions? And I was like, that's what you're doing right now. And he was like, yeah, but like, would you mind answering like some business questions? And I was just like, yeah, I do that for free all day for people. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. And this dude's been a follower of mine for a while. And he was like, okay, cool. Send me the wiring instructions. And I was just like, okay, this dude didn't buy a course. He bought proximity for 20 grand.
Exactly right.
And what's funny though, is he asked me 2 questions, both of which changed the trajectory of his business. And another guy that he's good friends with asked me 1 question that completely shifted the ability to go from not profitable to profitable overnight. And it's one simple thing that people just don't understand until you have to deal with it. And so like, I love that shit, but I'm not trying to be a fucking coach. I don't have enough hours in the day to work on my own shit. I've got so many projects that are in the queue, waiting to be developed, waiting to be built, waiting to be launched. Things that like, you would never even know I'm involved in, that are just great products that like, I don't have the ability to put my name behind enough things. And I had this conversation yesterday. You can only identify with so many things at once before you're one of those, I do all this shit guys. And you have to pick the things you identify. You can invest in a ton of shit, financially, emotionally, mentally, equity-wise, but you can't own the identity of 20 different companies you invest in. And what's worse is when you do that, if you make that mistake, you look like one of these guys who's like, oh yeah, I do e-com, I do wholesale, I'm a fitness coach, I'm an online trainer, I coach coaches, I also have a coach's coach coaching mentoring program, and I have an inner circle group for the people who are either a fitness influencer, a coach, an online marketer, a real estate, an e-commerce, or a coach's coach. And you look at those people and you're like, this fucking guy.
There's one person that can do it, that has done it.
Yeah, who's that?
Richard Branson.
Yeah.
He's it. He's the only, Brandon, he's the only one.
But you know him for only a couple of the companies.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
You might know he's involved in a bunch of things if you know him, but outwardly, you think Virgin.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And there are multiple Virgin projects, and you know of what Virgin does, but they're under a brand and an umbrella. So his identity is tied to an umbrella that is Virgin.
Agreed.
And he may have other companies, he does have companies outside of that he's invested in, of course, many of which are huge, right? But you know him as the Virgin guy.
And that's like, I've never been on a cruise in my life. Went on a cruise, took Brandy last summer, Virgin Cruise Lines out of Miami.
Yeah.
We spent a couple nights in South Beach. Fucking going
Dude,
again.
I flew Virgin to Europe, and I was like, yo, this is nice.
Like, and it was, Brandy was like, let's go on a cruise. I'm like, I don't want to go on a fucking cruise. I can't stand, like, I love my kids. Everyone else, I'm like, nah, I'm not going on vacation with all these other kids. It's 18 and up, so there's no kids. We had a blast. We're going again in May.
Hell yeah.
We're doing, it's like 5 nights, but 2 nights. We do 2 nights in South Beach ahead of time, and then we go.
Dude.
And I love it.
I hate boats.
Love it.
I hate boats.
And to me, it was, you know, you get a nice room with a fucking patio, the whole thing. And
that's cool.
The coolest thing was we got shit-faced the night before, and we were late coming out of fucking dock. So we go to sleep, and we're still like just kind of coming out of port, but we're shit-faced. And wake up the next morning, and you hit the button. Brandy goes, hey, look outside. Hits the button, and the fucking blind, and there's the ocean.
Nice.
And you're like, wow. And to get room service is like basically included. So she's ordering every morning. We had coffee and fucking croissants and the Danishes and all that shit coming to us.
Hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. And
See,
the
that's
best,
fun.
dude, and the best sex. I think whoever
That
was
part.
next to us thought that I was murdering Brandy every night. Like it was the best vacation I've ever been on in my life.
You ever been to Ocean Beach?
No,
Ocean Beach, California.
I've been there, but not like, like in passing.
So OB Noodle House is like one of my favorite restaurants, and there's some other good restaurants there too. But I like it because the OB Hotel is right in front of the pier where you surf. So to get a quick getaway, it's very convenient, and it's a hop, skip, and a jump to Hawaii, where I used to live and still have a place. So I would bounce to Ocean Beach, hop over to Hawaii, come back, and use that as my in-between when I was living in New York with my ex. I took her to Ocean Beach for the first time. Mind you, the first time we hung out, she was a guest that was a fill-in at a dinner I had when I was in town for a conference with a bunch of random people. Our experience together was we hung out. She wouldn't come home with me, and I was like, fuck this girl. Unfollowed her on Instagram. She hit me up in San Diego. I was like, I'm in San Diego. I'm like, the fuck does that mean to me? And she's like, oh, I thought you lived there because you were telling me about restaurants there. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm being a dick. So I was like, okay, here's where you go. So she went to a bunch of the restaurants, whatever. We ended up talking after that. She flew out to Scottsdale, where I was at the time. And in Scottsdale, I had a Rolls-Royce Wraith, one of 25 in the US, one of 50 in the world, 23 maybe, a Rolls-Royce Dawn, an F8 Spider, a Maybach, a Jeep, and I think one other car, and I forgot which. And the Jeep was that Grand Cherokee, the fast one I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets there, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't have a normal car to pick her up in. And so I picked her up in a Dawn. We threw the suitcase in the back. I'm so bad. I don't give a fuck. I'll scuff my shit up, ruin it, whatever. The suitcase goes in the back. It is what it is. There's no other room, right? There's no trunk space in a convertible. And so I pick her up. We go on this trip. So her expectation is like, oh, this, and she does not give a fuck about money. Grew up, middle class, normal girl, awesome human being, works for me still, one of my best friends, right? Her expectation, though, when we go to Ocean Beach, is we're going to be staying at a nice hotel. We get to the OB Hotel. It is literally a shit roach motel, shit house, prostitution trap. And Ocean Beach is like a hippie area where you have a lot of people that are just like drum circle every night, people smoking weed, cops arresting somebody. It's like it's a kind of a dumpy little town, but I love that it's so grunge in that way and so like salt of the earth. So we get checked into the hotel, and she's like, what the fuck? Put it this way. I got a single room, and it came with 2 beds. And the beds were laid out like one's in a corner, there's a wall, and then here's like another bed over there, and then there's a little table.
Awesome. But
But we had a view of the beach. We're right in front of it. I can walk outside and surf. So she's like, where the fuck are we? And I'm like, oh, it's not like nice. And she's like, it's just like, we've gone on some trips and we've been dating for a bit at this point. And I'm like, yeah, it's just, it is what it is. It's just a hotel, it's a place to sleep. We're not going to be here, right? She's like, Brandon, I have to work here. And I was like, oh, it'll be fine. 5 minutes later, all we hear next door is somebody getting fucked. The walls are paper thin, and it's some chick screaming and some guy grunting.
the best.
And we walk outside. It was like the weirdest duet you ever saw. It was like a fucking Ron Jeremy looking dude and some fucking redhead busted too much meth prostitute. And we were just like, fuck. And then I was kind of like, shit, this is a bad impression. We haven't been dating long enough for me to take her here. I don't take girls there anymore.
It's something that it was 3 black girls in the other room. And I'll never forget, this was like day 3 of a 5-night cruise. And we all came out at the same time, and they knew. I looked at them and just went, hi, how you doing? It's me.
I'm him.
It's just a sense of pride for a guy. Like,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a
for
thing.
sure. They look at you like,
Yeah.
oh, it's him?
Yeah, that was a thing, but it was just to get away. And yeah, you've got your phone, but really not that much. And to be with your girl, and
That's cool.
That's why we're going back in May. We're doing it again. We're actually doing 3 nights this time in South Beach. I forget what we stay at, one of the Hilton properties right there on the freaking ocean. South Beach. I've said it before here. The most beautiful people on the planet are in South Beach.
Yep, and some of the ugliest.
I didn't see one ugly person. Like anybody in the service industry, they're an 8 and up.
Sure. I thought you were talking about tourists.
No. I mean people that live there.
Because Miami has gotten very ghetto.
No. I mean people that like are serving you, and all the nice. They're all Latino. They're all Central and South American people. The guys and girls. Like one guy, I was like, your dishwasher. Bring him out here. He's got to be at least a 7.5.
Yeah,
Bring him out. Come on. This
I'll
is
tell
horrible. I
you,
can't fucking believe this.
if it depends on the type of beauty you like, but if you like plastic beauty, I will say a Scottsdale 10 is a Miami 15.
Ooh.
I lived in Scottsdale. I hated most of the women. There was really not a lot going on in the minds of some of them. There's a lot of broke people pretending to be rich. I wasn't a fan. It's not my vibe. But the women that visit there, for some reason, you got Charleston and you got Scottsdale. They're the two like hottest batch spots, and Savannah, Georgia's popping up now. Those are like three really hot batch spots, and Nashville. But Nashville, you're just getting random country girls. You go to like Scottsdale for a batch party, you don't see under a 7. And I don't care. Look, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna fucking date and marry a girl I think is ugly, right? But I'm not like, oh, you're not a good person because you're not attractive. I mean, that's silly. It's a silly like way to think. But the fucking level of beauty that comes through Scottsdale, and I lived right by like the club strip, like 5-minute, 10-minute walk, 2-minute drive, is unparalleled. It's crazy. And then you go to LA and people talk about how pretty people are in LA, and I'm like, yeah, they're all busted.
Do you think Scottsdale has the hottest girls in the country?
Okay, depends on what you like.
For what you like?
No, absolutely not. No, I like natural beauty. I'm not a big fan of plastic shit.
Where are the most naturally beautiful women in the country?
I don't think there's a population, especially because every year more and more women get work done. So the amount of natural beauty decreases. I mean, there's pockets everywhere. The thing is, aesthetics get you so far, but it goes back to that conversation. Like, you can be really fucking hot, but if you suck as a person, doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Well, that takes someone from a 9 to a 6.
Yeah, 100%.
Immediately.
And I've met some of the most beautiful women that are just so boring.
Same.
And I've had such a good time hanging out with them, but then I realize I'm carrying the good time. That's the worst
when
feeling.
you come back when I was single, it was like here in Vegas. There's some girls I met were great.
Yeah.
Other ones though, and they'd be gorgeous girls.
Dating here sucks.
But it was, I'd come home and I was exhausted. I'm thinking to myself, why am I so fucking tired? I had to carry the date.
Yeah.
I had to carry the conversation. I had to fight everything. It
You
was
know
like
what's worse?
awful.
When a girl tells you like, we had so much fun, and then you reflect on it and you're like, actually, no. You had so much fun and I created the fun.
I paid for dinner for you because you were looking for a meal. That's all you're really looking. And there's a lot of that. That's everywhere.
Oh yeah.
But here,
my
it's
date,
like,
I don't do the app thing. My dating strategy is if I don't meet you through a friend or meet you organically, we're not dating.
Good for you.
Ever.
Good for you.
Because there's no point. Like, you go on an app, it is so transactional. First of all, I'm fucking 5'8", dude. I'm filtered out of all the pretty women. Because the pretty women select 6'1" and up. And if I lie about 6'1", I get there in person, they're like, this motherfucker's not 6'1". I'm not gonna be that guy. I had a guy that came to my birthday party once. This is a fucking amazing story. This guy shows up to my birthday party. 150 people flew in from all over the country. It was when I was living on the water, private beach, all this shit. Had a fucking like cocaine white everything in my house. It was very like Miami Beach modern in a Spanish exterior. It was really cool. And so I did a bunch of work to the property, super happy. Everything's white and all of my art is very vibrant. So I've got this really cool art museum of a house. And I had 150 of some of my favorite people there. This guy I don't know, I met one time, finds out about it. And I was turning people away and he shows up. And I'm like, all right, I don't really know this guy. And I'm like, hey bro, good to see you. Thanks. Like, yeah, happy birthday. I'm like, cool. And he goes, so just like come in, is there anywhere I should put this thing down? He brought like a bottle of something, whatever. I didn't even fucking drink that much. So I was like, okay. Spent like $4,000 on alcohol. We use like $1,000 in alcohol. It's just my usual special. Like I'll have my assistant run to the store before we have people over and I'll overbuy for like 4X. And then we have the next party and I forget we overbought. And now he's getting good at self-regulating. But I'll fuck it up.
It's like compound interest of booze.
Basically, yeah. And the guy comes in and I'm like, yeah, just take your shoes off, make yourself at home. We got bartenders behind there. We got some snacks. And he's like, okay, I'd rather keep my shoes on. And I was like, this is awkward. So my floor is white and it is raining outside. So I would prefer if your shoes were off. He's like, oh, no, just put me a towel. I'll wipe them. And I'm like, this is a very weird exchange. And I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to be weird, but you kind of just need to take your shoes off. See the pile of shoes? There's like 100 pairs of shoes. You could put them wherever you want. If they're like valuable shoes, man, like I'm not like the biggest shoe guy. I've got nice shoes. At that point, I wasn't like in a fat, like I have $1 million in clothes now. Back then, I wasn't like that. I wore a fucking black t-shirt and fucking shorts every day. And I was just like, I can put them in my room if you want. Like I put them in the studio. I can put them wherever. And he was like, no, I'd just rather keep them on. And I'm like, all right, this isn't an option. And I had like security there. And the guy was kind of like looking at me like, what do we do here? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just like not trying to be a dick, bro. You can't wear your shoes in my house, or like you can't walk any further into my house. I'm sorry. Like I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just we already have messy enough floors. I'm not trying to make it worse. There's alcohol everywhere. Like there's no. The guy goes, all right, fine. Takes his shoes off. Dude gets 3 inches shorter. And I was like, that guy's fucked on the dating apps. Because this dude went from 5'7" to 5'4". And I was like,
he had lifts in his shoes.
Yeah, 3-inch lift. He was almost eye level to me, and then went down to like here level. And I was like,
oh, dude.
Yeah. That shit was crazy.
That was when I became single and went on the apps here in town. I'm lucky I'm 6'3". Fucking blessed.
Yeah, you are.
Blessed because every single first date, oh my God, you're tall. It says it in my profile. You don't understand. All guys online lie about their height.
Yeah.
All of them.
See, I don't have the balls to do that.
But you don't, but you're good. You're confident in who you are to say, I'll meet somebody else organically.
Oh, for
instead of going on the apps, which is a whole nother fucking level.
Well, also the people on the apps, I mean, there's only 2 types of people that are on apps long term. And if you go on a dating app, you'll see the same people year after year. If you sign back up, you'll see the same people. Because I used to use them, right? I did, especially during like my hookup phase. And you'll notice that they still have the same problems. They haven't done any work to themselves. They probably don't do therapy. Not saying everybody does. Everybody probably should. But they're not really looking to progress or grow. They're doing the exact same thing. They still have the same pictures from 4 years ago. Like, no, dude, you're fucking 30 pounds heavier now, bruh. Sis, whatever. Like it's like a scary thing. And I don't know, man. It's just so not real. Because
it's not.
Everybody just thinks like, how do I want to be perceived? And they think it's subconsciously, not consciously, which is the bigger problem. Because if they thought about it consciously, they would probably have better profiles, better luck, and actually find somebody. But it's just a bunch of posturing and bullshit. And as somebody who's successful, it's double hard. Because I have 2 options. I can lean into the fact that my lifestyle's crazy, and I can post all the shit I'd never put on Instagram. So I can put, like my assistant dude, his fucking Tinder profile was my lifestyle for a while. It'd be like, okay, cool. Here's me on a jet. Here's me in my Lambo. Here's me in my Rolls. But it's not me, it's him. And I remember one time he stole my Lambo to take a girl on a date. I come back from a trip, didn't tell him I was coming back early. I was like, where the fuck's my car? He's like, oh, I just took it to get gas. I'm like, why would you take my car to get gas? He's like, well, I had to go to Best Buy too, and I saw it needed gas. And I'm like, why would you take my most expensive car to do that? Or second most, whatever. I think it was my Urus, or maybe it was my Cully. I don't know. But anyway, I was like, why would you do that? He's like, oh, I just, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll be back in a little bit. Dude went on a date. And then a week later was like, can I borrow one? And I was like pretty pissed because I'm like, don't touch my shit without asking. If you ask me, I'm probably going to say yes. But then a week later was like, can I take your car to take a girl on a date? And I was like, no. And he was like, please? And I was like, no, you don't understand. The expectation you're setting is so bad. I don't want to take my cars on a date.
Exactly.
Like you're giving them this illusion that you're somebody you're not and somebody you don't want to be, dude. I don't buy cars for other people. I buy them for me. If you're buying or driving or existing in a car, like it's no better than renting a car to posture. You may as well take a bunch of fucking pictures in front of it and post them, which I think he probably did. But it was just one of those things where, nah, I'm kidding. He's a fucking amazing guy. But it's just one of those things where you're not going to get the right attention doing that. If I post online my lifestyle, I could post 1,000, but I could probably post, maybe I've flown private like 70, 80 times, okay? I could post probably 70 flights of me private and never run out of camera roll if I took pictures, which I usually don't. But I could post like 70 times. Cars, I've had every car other than McLarens because they're unreliable and I only like the 765 LT. Obviously not hypercars are different. Hypercars are in another league. I don't justify spending the money on them, but I've had pretty much every fucking car you could have of like nice cars, of supercars. Like you could name one. If it's not an Aventador and it's not a McLaren, I've had it. I don't personally like the idea of putting that out there because it sets an expectation. So now what do I put out there? I put out snowboarding, I put out surfing, and I put out hiking. Okay, those are very normal.
Good for you.
But now I don't stand out as much. So the engagement decreases because when you're faced with two options and one of them is look at this crazy lifestyle and the other one is this guy looks like he has fun.
Yeah.
Which one do most women want? They can lie, but they want the crazy lifestyle. Everybody does. A guy wants it, a girl wants it. Dude, I've dated women that are so much wealthier than me. Mostly by inheritance, but it doesn't matter.
Still have it.
Like in a different fucking league. And I like schools where there are 10 children in the entire school, K through 8. That shit's like different level. And I've treated them the exact same way I would treat anybody else. And they've treated me the exact same way they would treat anybody else. But there are people out there that are like, huh, okay, this guy's cool. This guy's not ugly. This guy's funny. And this guy's rich. Perfect. Checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Good. Could be a few inches taller, but we'll take it.
Doesn't matter.
No, but it checks enough of the boxes that, and there are a lot of them, that are just like, cool, I'm in. And my ex would get pissed that so many girls would DM me. And a lot of them were like friends or like girls I did hook up with or whatever that I stayed friends with, or girls that I wanted to or they wanted to, whatever. But it's like I was in a relationship. It wasn't like I was fucking cheating on her with them. It's just girls messaging me that would message me. The second you become single, all of those girls message you much more aggressively. And if you give even a little bit of attention, the wrong ones will message you a lot more. And it fucking sucks. That is why I am so happy for people like you that already have kids, that are in a loving relationship, that are there, because holy fucking shit does dating suck. Because if I show you who I am, you're going to fall in love with the idea. If I show you visually, if I show you who I am as a person, you're going to fall in love with me. But being able to do the second one without the first one is impossible. Like I'm in the awkward position where I can't separate success from my life. There's no optical win. We used to joke about me getting an apartment and like a shitty car, or like driving one of my shittiest car's $100,000, but driving one of my shitty cars and like having a shitty little apartment and trying to like go on dates and like convince women I'm normal and like make it a show and like have fun because it's so unrealistic. Because you could Google me, you could look me up on the internet and I exist. You know, it's very difficult. There's no way to insulate from that. And there's a part of it is acceptance and just recognizing that like, yeah, pretty much everybody wants that life, but then trying to figure out who deserves it and to qualify and move through those people in a quick enough fashion that I'm not 60 years old when I try to have my first kid.
You lonely?
Fuck no, dude. I have the best people around me all the time. I have so many great people around me. Great women, great friends.
So you're nourished.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
You're
chilling.
nourished.
I have incredible people in my life. I have the greatest circle imaginable. The people outside of the circle that are like in the ecosystem and like the ethos are incredible. Nobody bad ever lasts.
Good.
And it's amazing.
I love that for you. Bro.
Yeah,
I love that for you.
It's good, but holy fucking shit is dating hard when you're successful in this day and age.
It's something that, and this is something that comes with age, is some things just happen naturally. And sometimes you can grind all you want to, work as hard as you want to, put all the fucking work into it, bring your team in and all that. Nothing compares to time.
Oh, for sure.
And sometimes it just takes time for things to come to fruition, whether it's in business, but I've seen it in relationships, right? And that sometimes it's just the right person hasn't been approached to you, but also you. There's been girls I've been with that I know that if I was with them now, I'd be married to them and having kids and be great.
Yeah.
But I fucked things up or whatever.
Yeah, or they did.
Or they did. It's a two-way street. But that's the one thing I've learned now in being older at 54 is I let time take care of things sometimes.
Yeah.
Now it's more like with me building a business, I don't sell a fucking thing.
Yeah.
I just do what I do. There's no call to action. If people then come to me and go, I want to work with you.
Yeah.
What's that look like?
That's where it's at.
And I'm now getting calls with people saying, okay, this is what I need from you. Take some time, music to my ears. And they say, get back to me what that looks like in your eyes, meaning scope of work and investment. then you've arrived.
Yeah.
Because there's no like, hey, guess what? Right now, ShamWow, fucking get this, but wait, there's more. Like, here's my coaching program. You're never going to see me with a fucking QR code.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. Because I've, again, been blessed by very smart fucking people who've said, do a coaching program or do it, have a class. No, that's just not me.
It's not who you want to be.
It's just not me.
Yeah.
I'm more of a let's work together.
Yeah. Now, could you make a lot of money? Absolutely.
yes.
With the number of eyeballs? For sure.
Fuck yes.
But is that who you want to be? No.
No.
And that I respect, because a lot of people, like I said, I met that guy the other day, personal brand, develop an offer, sell something. I'm like, thanks for educating me. Like, I don't spend $50 million a year advertising. Thank you for teaching me what a fucking offer is. Now he did it with good intentions, but he was
funny.
like, yeah, you got to,
Fucking
like, when I'm
funny.
talking about personal branding, he's like, yeah, you got to just build a funnel and sell a course. And I'm like, thanks, bud.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've never taught anybody how to do that before.
Ever. No experience doing that
And
whatsoever.
I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, Jesus. So I don't ever I never talk down to people ever.
That's
so
not
the
the
guy
point.
was like, yeah, I mean, I'll do all the work for you. I'll split it 50-50. I'm like, let me get this straight. My reputation, experience, and acumen
there's the pitch.
are now worth 50%.
There's the pitch. Yeah.
And your experience, it was like the Brad Lee conversation all over again. I'm like, so I take less, even though I add more and contribute more and intrinsically have more. That doesn't add up.
It shows his business acumen and his maturation in the business process. Because if he was smart, he'd say, I'll take 10%.
And he's been doing it a long time.
Like, I'll take 10%.
See, the smartest
And you go
people
ahead.
I've ever done business with, and I don't have many partners, and some of the small side stuff, even some of the big side stuff that still make millions of dollars, I have partners, right? But most of the big shit, like my finance company, I have partners, but my marketing company, no partners. Tech companies, people have equity, but it's not like partners. It's like, this is my thing, and thank you for being here. And thank you for contributing and collaborating, and it's amazing. But in some businesses, when I have partners, the most awkward part, which I'm having it right now on a really cool project that I'm kind of stoked. The guy put me on a phone call and I was like, here's how you do it. And he was like, yeah, okay, cool. We're doing a thing now. And I was like, cool. But we're having the awkward discussion of equity. I hate that conversation.
Yeah.
Because if you ask me, I look at everybody's contributions and I weight them and determine which one makes money. And shockingly, it almost always is the marketer's job to make the money. So for me, I'm going to be like, well, I'm driving 90% of the revenue. So what do you guys want to do? But I don't like having those conversations. So I'm like, you just tell me what you think is fair. And oftentimes I'll just say, all right, well, I'm not going to do that. Or, okay, that seems reasonable. And it's a very, very awkward conversation.
What I'm doing that right now I have friends of mine that have a very successful business and they're in Southern California, doing very well. I was there at day one. I'm friends with them. But their marketing is not good.
Yeah.
And they know that. And so I've told them, bring me in. Not once have they asked for a price or anything like that, but they won't do it. So I've told them, I text, we're on a group chat, and I've said to them, all right, I'm going to make an offer you can't refuse. And by the time they see this, they'll know what the offer is going to be. I'm going to come in pro bono. I'm going to come in for nothing because I'm good financially right now. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And if and when you see that I brought some kind of value to what's going on, fine, give me a ham sandwich. We'll fucking call it good. Whatever you offer to me, I'm going to accept. I'm not going to negotiate with you.
Yeah.
I
do that all the time.
I'm over that. I'm so over that.
It's
People
exhausting
all
all the time.
right?
It is.
Right.
Because the
And so-
negotiation process is so, it ruins friendships, it ruins relationships, and everybody always ends up feeling disrespected.
No one wins.
No.
When you negotiate, and my dad, who was a life insurance salesman in Manhattan, would always say the best deal was when both people walk away happy. How often does that happen?
It's so hard to manufacture, and you have to manufacture it.
Oh, so I'm going to be going to these guys. I'm going to fly down there on my own dime, spend the day with them, walk through there and all their fucking systems and what they're doing and say, okay, guys, give me a whiteboard and 4 fucking markers.
Yeah, my favorite quote is tell me what you think is fair. And it tells you who people are.
Amen.
Because if people say to you, like you say, tell me what you think is fair, and somebody grossly undervalues you. I mean, a good example was that Brad conversation. Love Brad to death, but tell me what you think is fair. The more successful person with more experience that's a subject matter expert should take 10% while you take 80. Yeah, come on, Brad.
Yeah.
That's not real.
My balls are on your chin. Where's my dick?
Yeah.
Literally.
It's crazy.
Literally. That's a position that, again, I wish I knew this 20 years ago, but I'm okay with it now because, and I'm going to tell them, you tell me when, here's my availability next month for March, and I'm going to come down there. I'm going to fly down for the day. And you're going to walk me through your entire they're going to brand new offices. This is their third upgrade into offices because they're doing very well. And I'm going to say, you don't have a CMO. I'll be your de facto CMO, pro bono. I want nothing. Just let me help get you going in the right way.
Yeah.
And they can't say we all love each other. Like they're my homies. They won't say no. I'll feel better even if they don't pay me a goddamn dime. I know that they got started on the right foot.
Yeah.
And that then their corporation can really fucking flourish.
I have made a lot of mistakes doing that though. So my only cautionary tale of advice, I can give you a dozen.
Please.
More than a dozen. Make sure that the tell me what you think is fair conversation ends in an agreement that is memorialized by a contract.
Good
because
point.
oftentimes I start a conversation.
Yeah, thanks.
I start a conversation with some great people, good friends, people that I've met, people I meet, and the conversation morphs. And it starts off where you're like, I would love to help you. Let me help you. I don't need anything. I'm good. I say that so many times, right? I'm good. I don't need anything. But then the ask changes as the conversation develops because what they come to you for doesn't become what you do. What they come to you for is an ask, or what you offer to them is just it's a random offer. It's nothing in depth. It's vague. It's nebulous. As it starts to get defined, then the reality of work and time come into play. And now you're like, fuck, dude, I'm doing a lot of shit. This is not that good. I offered to help this guy. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth and not help him.
Now it's 5 to 10 hours a week.
Now you have to negotiate yourself something from a position you gave up. So the best thing to do is just say, hey, look, I can do X, Y, and Z for you. I would love to personally. I'm not asking for anything. Just tell me what you think is fair. And it teaches you two things: what they think of you, how much they value your work. And that's it. You know, they think your work is worth money and they think you're a good person, or they think you're an asset, or they respect you.
These guys have it's Client Giant, the name of the company. They have the #1 gift giving platform on the planet.
That's awesome.
And it's Jeff Jekyll and Jay O'Brien. Jay O'Brien was a realtor in Costa Mesa, and with like NAR 30 under 30, like a baller, sleeves, fucking one of the nicest guys, one of the sweetest men walking the planet. And he gives a talk. He's at an Inman conference, which is a big residential real estate conference, delivering 7-star service in a 3-star industry. And how he talks about just the lowest bar is set for real estate agents, and how he has made all of his money in referrals because he just gives back.
Yeah.
And he gives a shit about his clients. And now they have developed this narrative where at different price points for different verticals now, and with every month you could be sending stuff out to people. They even give like tickets to the fucking Super Bowl.
Wow.
They concierge service, like they do stuff for big spend stuff. Dude. That these guys have created something. I've told them they're now morphing from real estate into financial planners and other industries. And the thing is, I knew them before this even started, Brandon, and I love them.
Yeah.
And I know what they're doing is true and valid and sincere. So I want to give them my God-given talents to go, okay, let's get more people to see you on a more regular basis now.
Yeah.
Because you guys really haven't done your launch. Even though you're 4 or 5 years old, you've never really launched your company. And I saw them at a conference in Dallas in September, and they agreed with me. They're like, you're right. We've never done a launch. I go, you haven't. I don't know who you are.
Congrats, though.
Right? I'm like, I don't know who you are. And back then when I was heavy in residential real estate because of being in title, I'm like, I know everybody that's big in this area. I don't know you guys, even though you're out doing all this stuff. You need a launch and you need a brand to really fucking define
you got to continually be in front of people. Yeah.
Because you're such good guys and the stuff you're building is amazing, but it could be a whole nother level of scalability and growth. So I'm just going to tell them, go, hey, you tell me what works for you guys, in March. Give me a day. I'm flying down.
Yeah, those types of deals, I'm like, lift. Just base it on lift. Hey, you're here now. You were here there. You're projected to be here.
Yep.
If we get you above there, let's figure something out.
And as long as you're not incorporated in the state of Delaware, you can have great comp, unlike Elon Musk, who got fucked.
Why is that?
He did a comp. His comp plan with Tesla was, at the time, even people on CNBC were like, there's no way this is going to, Aaron Sorkin's a guy on CNBC. He's quoted saying he's crazy. This is never going to happen. If he hit certain benchmarks, he would get certain comp. Well, he's due like over $80 billion. And a judge in Delaware, because everyone gets their S corps done in Delaware, was like, no, this is unfair. Even though there was a proxy vote, there was all the shareholders, like 73% voted for it to say okay, and he was in and it was turned down. So what did he do? That he just did it a couple days ago, because I'm on X. I fucking love X.
I haven't followed this.
Fucking X is great. He moved everything to Texas. Within 2 weeks of that finding happening, and now there's like this fucking surge of corporations leaving Delaware because of this one judge and what they did.
I mean, that's the most powerful man on the planet. It's like,
come on, like to not. But it's again the judge. It's like I reverse engineer everything. What's this person? Where are they coming from?
Yeah,
they're saying
I
that.
have trouble figuring that out.
Like they can't put their brain around an $80 billion comp plan, even though it's in writing that if he hits these benchmarks, which he's done in spades, Brandon, he has done it to a level that no one even thought could happen in terms of how he's grown the Tesla stock.
Yeah.
It's just, come on. And at the time, he knew it. So that's why he's like, this is what we're going to do. I'm sleeping here almost every fucking night in a cot. We're getting this thing rolling. But once we do, we hit these marks, I'm going to get fucking paid.
You know what's impressive, though? When you think of Elon Musk, tell me something about him other than Tesla, SpaceX, PayPal.
Good dad.
Tell me something else.
On the spectrum, has not full blown, but has autism.
Tell me something else.
From South Africa originally.
Okay.
That's it.
Tell me about his hobbies. Tell me about his interests.
No idea.
Nobody does.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, you'd have to like go through
You're right.
like real holes.
Great question. No idea.
Yeah. That's what's so impressive, because typically you look at people and like you can tell what Grant Cardone likes. You can tell he's a Scientologist. You can tell he loves his jet that he made from ripping people off. I mean,
So true. I agree.
I mean, it's the reality. He rips people off. You look at a guy like Wes Watson. You can tell the Miami mansion I think he rents, and maybe he bought with stolen money or defrauded money, whatever. But maybe it's not fraud. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Maybe he genuinely helps people, and just everybody hates him, and the people are just unsatisfied, or just a micro.
If it walks like a duck.
But he's got a big house, he's got cars, he's got watches, and he likes to yell and do trend. Okay? You can tell a lot about all these different people we're talking about. You know, the ones that Bible thump because they're hiding something. I found the people that talk about God the most are the ones that sin the most. And their solution is, I do bad things, I'm going to go to church now. Don't worry, it's washed away because I did the bad thing before I went to church and confessed. Now that I've confessed, Jesus is okay with it. You should be too. That's like real logic that people live by. It's like the craziest thing.
Yeah.
But you know a lot about all these different people and what they're interested in, and you know where they place all of their values, where they, you know, what they hold near to them, what they're interested in. You just don't know that for him, which is crazy because he's so public and so powerful, and yet most people don't know that much about the guy. And like you could watch all the interviews and try to figure it out, but it's not publicly there and outwardly there.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's interesting that just there's so much noise that's out there. I really think you should start doing some stuff where you out people. And again, just think about it, because you're not coming from a point of negativity. You're coming from a point of helping others to enlighten them onto really what's going on. Because like I've had people here that, again, for me, I mean, there's investment in doing this podcast.
Yeah,
and you know it,
of course.
right? And with editing and everything else. And I have a guy that does, all he does is my YouTube thumbnails.
Yeah.
So the guy's fucking amazing. 21 years old out of fucking Austin. All he
Hell
does is
yeah.
my thumbnails. I love Christian. I love him. But there's people I've had on that if I'd known how to, that they pay for their followers, that they pay for their audience, I wouldn't have had him on. Sean got into some shit, but I still would have Sean on because he's done, like, we're here now because of Sean Kelly.
Yeah, for sure.
I like Sean.
No, Sean's a very
guy.
good dude.
And if he paid for some stuff, you know what? If that made sense to him, okay. And he's monetizing.
You know,
okay.
I'm not.
I respect him for that,
I'm
actually.
not anti-fake it till you make it, as long as you make it. But as long as your fake isn't hurting anyone.
Correct.
Here's the difference. And the reason why I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Like you can look at engagement, you can tell it's fake. Now, why is there fake engagement? Is it to boost the algo? Is it to try to get it to show up on more explore pages? There's a logic behind it. It's not just vanity for the sake of vanity, because there are people that genuinely follow it as well.
Absolutely.
And you can't get the genuine following without doing it organically. So there's a component of it that is, let's call it boosted. Sure, it's transparent from a mile away. I don't think anybody's delusional and thinks otherwise. But there are people that are outright like all fake, that are actually fucking people over. Whereas Sean's goal is like, the guy brings on great content, brings on great people.
Great content.
I mean, some of them are shitheads. Yeah, sure. They pay to be there, and that's a business, and I get it. But the majority of them create good content, good conversation. They're good people that have done good things. Some of them are fucking incredible people. There's a lot of subject matter experts that have been on that show.
Hell
and
yeah.
people with really cool stories.
Hell
and
yeah.
It's a really good time. And Sean does a good job of asking questions. And it's like a very nice, I personally enjoy a lot of the clips. I think some of them, I'm like, how the fuck did this guy swindle Sean into letting him pay to be on here? And like, fuck, dude, Sean must have wanted to buy a toy that day, because this is crazy that this guy's even here. Like, there's some people that say some dumb shit. And I think those content pieces are going to go more viral because they're fucking stupid.
Correct.
So he's happy with it.
He loves it.
Yeah, of course. But there are people that are outright scamming people. And there's like buying, like, okay, yeah, everybody knows Sean doesn't have 12 million real fucking followers. Who
Correct.
gives a shit? It's a
Yeah.
fucking number.
Don't care.
It doesn't matter.
I don't care.
I don't care if it's 200,000, 2 million, 12 million. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's fucking social media, dude.
agree.
It's not that fucking important.
Yeah.
And if you're buying reviews, there's more clever ways to have bought reviews than the way he did. Sure. I don't see that as bad, because it doesn't impact the content or the conversations.
Yeah.
And I made a post initially and then took it down and was like, let me just not get involved. But I responded to Goop's thing. And I was just like, yeah, Sean's actually a pretty good dude and doesn't like rip people off. He's not like a conniving guy out to get you.
Not at all.
Like
He's not.
that's not who he is.
He's not. I agree.
And I'm like, usually you're right about these, but you missed the mark on this one. But then I deleted it and was like, you know what? Not my fight. And it's really not going to have that much of an impact, because they're different audiences. The audiences of people that want to be a part of the teardown
Yeah.
are
good point.
completely different than the audience of people that want to be a part of the build up. And they're usually not the same person. Like, you and I are the same. Like, we are that person.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, dude, I want to watch the shit burn because it's fun. But also, like, I'm over here trying to spread positivity.
Absolutely right.
And that's what makes it hard for me to call people out, because I could do it. I'm definitely qualified to do
I
it.
just think that my advice to you is this: if you see somebody that you know they're fucking wrong with what they're doing,
Yeah.
you know that it's fucking it's a paper mache house, you know, but they're saying it's built to granite. That you have every right where you're coming from with your accomplishments and your business acumen, but also you're good, man. You're good on camera, that you can sling it, and you can do it in a way that is done with tactical precision, like 60 Minutes. You know, they fucking come in and it's like boom, 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 boom. And then that's it. Like, you don't give your opinion. You're just restating the facts of how you perceive it with your business history and your experience. That's all. And then let it sit there and see what happens.
Might
That's
entertain
all.
it one day. I think that the other thing is, I hate litigation. I hate it. And like, I have too much going on. The thing about litigation that's bad, and one of my corporate attorneys is a corporate litigator. He's brilliant, great friend of mine, awesome human being, right? Like one of my best friends, great dude. When I first like had my first ever business dispute, and I was like, I gotta sue this guy. Fuck. He was like, Brandon, you're not gonna want to. And I was like, tell me why you say that. You know, because I'm usually like, all right, prove me wrong, tell me why. I like to be enlightened. I like my eyes being open. He goes, Brandon, you live a very fluid lifestyle. You avoid scheduling things whenever they're not really productive for you. You don't like taking scheduled meetings. You don't like meeting with people that you don't see value in. You live a very like fluid, wake up when you want, go where you want, do what you want schedule, and you'll disappear for time and you'll go places and you have multiple properties and all that stuff. Litigation doesn't respect that. You have deadlines, you have depots, you have fucking all these different things that you have to deal with that are going to make, forget the money.
Well, it's the time.
But that are just, the
It's
time.
your time. That's why I meant.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Well,
it's
sure,
the time of
interchangeable.
your money. It's the same thing.
And it was like, okay. And he talked me off the ledge so many times. And eventually there were just people that outright fucked me over in my face and made a point to like laugh about it, basically. So I was like, all right, I gotta do what I gotta do. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, if I was to publicly out people, the amount of people that would try to sue me because they know I have so much more than them.
Good point.
Is probably just not worth it.
True.
Like, I have so much to lose, and these people live in glass houses. So I can throw a stone and break a house, but I might get some glass that shatters and cuts me.
I get you.
And it's just not worth it. Not to mention, I hate negativity.
Same. Oh, same. I'm much rather. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, dude, thanks
We've
for
gone
having
like
me.
2.5 hours.
Oh, time flies.
Which is hysterical.
My bad, dude.
No, not bad. Dude, no, I love this. I would love like every 3 or 4 months we get together.
Dude, I'm down.
Whether it's like I come to you, you come to me,
dude.
and
I'm super down, man.
This is the longest I've gone.
Sorry.
No. It's don't be sorry. I'm always somebody that I go because the only reason why we're stopping now is I got to fucking pee.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. But it's I love the conversation just because you bring a lot to the fucking table, and I want you to be comfortable. Where yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a lot here.
So thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Oh boy. Okay. No, dude, thank you. Appreciate you, man.